I'm hurt, dog.
Can you? It,
Damn it again, Lloyd.
welcome in to another edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live, powered and driven here on
Give you
this
another
Wednesday by Go Chevrolet. A couple of black eyes and a broken arm later, we are live here with you on this Wednesday, jam-packed, no guests.
Full video
No
calls
guests.
only.
Please let's do a video call.
We are going to try to do a video call with Billy Embody.
Boy, damn it, I'm not even on.
You are on. You're plugged in. You're plugged in.
JP and the Crybabies are back. You're damn right we're back, JP. It's good to be back. Sorry about the end of yesterday's show. Lloyd and I scrapped here in the studio. Looks like I won the fight. I got a couple of black eyes. Lloyd broke his arm.
There's a flask in here, so I'm all good.
Thank you for playing along with us yesterday. Yesterday was very frustrating for the Jordy Culotta show.
They were all just as scared as I was. We had a group last night, a support group.
We will talk about last night. We went and saw Tyrann Mathieu speak last night on LSU's campus. But we will wrap up yesterday's end of the show here on the Jordy Culotta show. A lot of yes, it was a lot of technical difficulties here,
Absolutely, as always.
We are trying to implement
Yeah, what is going on over there?
from a frustrating standpoint. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, what's going on over there? Talk amongst yourselves. We can.
One arm.
International Women's Day is a long time ago, Danny.
But yesterday's end of the show was, look, it was very frustrating for us, and it had gotten to a point where we decided, look, we're just going to back away from today's show. We're going to back away from it and see if we can't get everything figured out on our end. We are trying to bring you a daily show that is bringing you news. I know it's a little different than traditional media, and it still has some of its technical difficulties and technology that we have to overcome, and we feel like we're trying to master that and get to it. We just yesterday was very frustrating, so we just backed away, and you saw a little bit of the of inside baseball, of kind of how it works. But we're just kind of playing a bit here to start the day because it's all good. It's all good. We're back with you, and
I'm not back.
you will be back here in a second.
Get Rico to call in. We're testing on Rico. This is a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, we'll have a video call today with Billy Embody, and we'll talk about LSU's Pro Day, which is coming up, which is a big day for a lot of people that are working out at LSU today, including TDP, Austin Deculus, Ed Ingram, Cam Lewis, Derek Stingley Jr. is the headliner. We will be over there.
What happens at Pro Day? Am I still not on?
You are.
No, you're on.
What happens? Tell me what happens at Pro Day. I've never been to one.
It's just you're working out for all 32 teams.
And you just walk around and watch everybody kind of work out.
Yeah.
Can you talk to them?
Yeah, there's media availability, but yeah, all 32 teams are there, and they're just watching, just pretty much the combine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, bench press, jump, vertical jump.
That's fun.
On the field skills, and then you kind of
Right? Is it not?
Yeah, I mean it's boring. It's pretty boring.
Oh, it is.
That's fun.
I've never been. It seems fun, different. I mean,
Yeah,
it's cool.
I mean,
it's cool to watch, right?
The first one I've ever been to was the best one I've ever been to. It was Jamarcus Russell's Pro Day. Still is like folklore amongst people.
How long ago was that?
It was like 2007.
Okay.
But it was just he was like making these incredible throws. I mean, Pro Day has just kind of turned into a, it's just you kind of go show off your skill, but you're the one that is kind of dictating the workouts. You're going to do what you do best, and Jamarcus that day was just he put on a clinic. Al Davis was there, and it was that's where he was really the number one pick after his Sugar Bowl. But remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet, GEAUX, Chevrolet.com. Go Chevrolet is brand new cars located out in LaPlace, Louisiana. Used cars over here in Baton Rouge on the corner of Florida Boulevard and Sherwood Forest. Stop in and see Go Express Auto Sales, are also brought to you by True Blue Water, TRUBluewater.com. If you want to get on the delivery route, you can jump online. All of our phone line is brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Nick Underhill is going to be passing through. He's coming to Pro Day here today, so we're going to have him in studio at 9 a.m. He will talk to us about what the Saints have going on. Obviously, that huge Saints trade that went down earlier this week between the Eagles and New Orleans.
No, we still don't understand because we couldn't have my triplet on.
And hopefully Nick Underhill can give some insight to it, as he'll be here at 9 a.m. this morning. So we'll talk to him about what the draft strategy is. Saints have now 2 first-round picks. They give up a couple of futures. So what's that mean immediately for New Orleans, and then how the hell did that thing all shake out? Nick Underhill will be here at 9 a.m. this morning, and as always, brought to you by Go Chevrolet. Make sure you hit that like button, share button, comment button. We appreciate it. As always, you starting your Wednesday here with us. As last night, I had a chance to get out and check out Tyrann Mathieu speaking inside of the Maravich Center, and it was fantastic. Chad Sabity, our guy, who is a professor on campus over at the Manship School of Journalism, was kind of the MC of the night. What would you call that spot? Not the narrator.
Like the orator.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
It wasn't really like an MC because it was like a sit down Q&A. You know, I mean, it was like it was just him.
Panel host.
It was just him and Tyrann sitting on, kind of sitting on a stage, and just kind of reliving. It was a lot like a very similar to the interview that we did here, just kind of going through his life. I mean, just kind of going through and getting his point of view of growing up in New Orleans, playing at LSU, getting drafted, sitting out that season, some of the adversity that he's had to face kind of off the field. So, I mean, it was just a really cool, and shout out to Delta Gamma, which, I mean, Lloyd and I were talking, I mean, don't sleep on the Greek money, because, I mean, this is obviously a tradition that they do every year. Now, they've had the last 2 years have been canceled due to COVID, but, I mean, like, some of the speakers that they've had, I mean.
I feel like they knew somebody that knew him. That wasn't that.
Not judging by the history of people that have been there on this night. I mean, they obviously bring some heavy hitters in to speak. You remember that guy that got trapped in the mountain? And
they had him.
Oh, James Franco.
His name was Aaron.
I was about to say the one they did the movie about.
His name was
127 hours.
They had him.
They had
wow.
Gabrielle Union came in.
No. What the hell is going on with Delta Gamma?
I'm telling you, man. The panel was just like, it was very impressive. They had they just had the pictures of past speakers up, and I was like, damn, this is legit. I mean, this isn't just Tyrann Mathieu passing through town and let's see if he can speak to the crowd. This is something that they do every single year, and he was the speaker of the night, and it was a really cool environment. Kelly and I took Jordan and a friend of his, LJ, to just, really they just wanted to go meet Tyrann Mathieu. But they really took a lot of cool stories away from it. I mean, I made sure that they were listening as much as 11-year-olds could, but hoping that they could take a little something. And then they opened it up to Q&A, and Kelly was the first question. I mean, they were like, it was like a room full. We were in the PMAC.
Wait, I thought you meant your Kelly.
I did.
Oh, she asked the first question?
The first one. Like, she stands up, raises her hand. They're like, we'll open it up to Q&A out there. She was like, I got one. And I'm like, Tyrann looks at me, and he's like head nods.
What was the question?
And it was a great question, and she
you're a plant.
She crushed it. I mean, it was so impressive. I mean, because it was a younger crowd. It was the majority of it was college kids.
Yeah.
But there was some people that took advantage of it and brought the family out and brought some of the young kids out to listen to him. I would say 1,500 people, 2,000 people. Maybe I'm not good at that stuff, but it would be like one side of the court was taken up, but not all the way to the top, just kind of in the middle section.
More or less than the first Matt McMahon home game.
That's a great question. Whoa, bro. What's going on with your camera?
My tape fell off.
So what'd she ask him,
over the weekend, yes.
He doesn't know.
No, I do. I do. The setup. No,
He didn't even go.
I do. The setup was fantastic. We were talking to Jordan about he loses kind of his head in the game. You know what I mean? Like he'll play, compete, and like one thing goes bad, you can kind of start to see him slipping.
Where he gets that from.
You know what I mean? And
you deserve this today.
And Kelly raises her hand and says, and like she like cuts the ice perfectly. She's like, I got a question about these two little ballers right here. You know, like in the whole, and like the place is like kind of
okay,
yeah, like kind of like laughing, which like loosens you up. And then she asks like, if you're in the game and you ever like kind of get flustered, how do you get past it, forget it, move on? And he had a great answer. I mean, he was just like, you know, talking to him about the next play. And
that's cool.
It was cool. I mean, it was, and the room really had an opportunity to ask questions, and they had a lot of cool questions that he was asked. And I mean, the thing that's great about him in that environment, in my opinion, is that he's so honest. I mean, he's so just, you can tell, sincere and genuine about his feelings, his thoughts, and very relatable, whether you're, you know, an 11-year-old like we had with Jay and his friend last night, to college kids, who was the majority of the room, to, you know, parents and young adults that were scattered all throughout the PMAC last night. I mean, it was a cool night to see Tyrann Mathieu, and once again talked about the potential of, you know, being the head coach for the LSU football program. I mean, this is something that obviously he is driven to do, and you know, looks forward to life after football, to starting that journey. So if you were in the room last night, it was a treat. If you weren't, you should look up when Delta Gamma is doing this every year, because they got some heavy hitters. I mean, they got some pretty cool speakers that come through here and sit down and answer some hard questions. So
do they sell tickets? Did you have to pay?
That was free admission.
Really?
It was free. And the only reason why I knew about it was because it was on his social media.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that, you know, when people were asking, is he going to be here next Tuesday night to do this?
Yeah, we were talking about that, because we were like, why would he be coming back on Tuesday?
Right. And I think that they had the plan, like the New Orleans Saints meeting was planned on Tuesday for a while. So I think he knew that he was going to be in town. And by all accounts, he talked about that Saints meeting last night. I mean,
he's an open book.
He was asked about it by Chad Sabity, who Sabity is a morning anchor on a New Orleans television station down there. So, I mean, like, this story has been like, you know, like he's been talking about it a lot. And so when Tyrann sat down, I mean, he kind of kept like making jokes about the day and being in the Saints facility. And then finally at the end, he was just like, tell us about it. And then once it went open to question and answer, you know, they had somebody from New Orleans in the crowd that like stood up and asked, you know, what are the chances? And he said pretty point blank, he said, look, both sides would not have set the meeting if there wasn't genuine interest, but they have a lot to work out. I mean, from reading between the lines, and what he said last night was that the money doesn't match up. What he's asking, what he is expecting to get, is not what the Saints can offer. And they would love to have one another, but from the business standpoint, it just doesn't seem like it's a match right now. Now, the Saints are wizards at moving and shuffling and finding ways to include players that they want and see fit on their roster, and they'll make that happen any way possible. And if Tyrann is a guy that they see fit, then they'll make it work. But I got the hint, and we'll ask Underhill about it. Underhill's got as good a resources and relationships as anybody with the Saints. When he comes through at 9 a.m., if he heard anything about the meeting, but just judging by reading his remarks last night, or listening to his remarks last night and reading between the lines, I would say that, you know, from a business standpoint, there's a lot of ground to make up between the Saints and Mathieu before that, you know, a deal could be struck. They'd like to play. It seems like from Mathieu's standpoint, he's got no problem being home and kind of wants to go home. But I still feel like he's going to Tampa Bay.
I still feel like he's going to Dallas.
I mean, I hear you.
Oh,
But
you do?
I mean, there's a lot of puzzle pieces that line up and say that Tampa will be the spot. He sat right here over a week ago and said how much a quarterback meant to the recipe that he was looking for in free agency. Tom Brady's the quarterback in Tampa Bay. He mentioned that he started to work out with Alex Guerrero and he's bought into the TB12 method. I mean, that goes to be said that means that Tom Brady is recruiting him in some sense or is in his ear. I mean, we heard the story about Russell Gage, about how Russell Gage ended up a buck. I mean, some of the offers that were coming
couple bucks
to Russell Gage was, was downright disrespectful to where Gage was in his career. And when Tom Brady heard that there was interest between Gage and the Buccaneers, next thing you know, Gage has got 3 years, $30 million guaranteed after he had been offered 3 years, $12 million contract with like 6 of it guaranteed. I mean, if Tom Brady wants you, he's going to get you. Ask Bruce Arians.
If he wanted me, he'd get me.
Oh, sorry, David. Tom, you have to bring back the butt cut for you. But how long do you think, like, what's the contract that Tyrann would sign? He's 29, and he says he's a young 29, but the position he plays, I'd imagine this might be his last contract if it's between a 3 and 5 year deal, right?
I would imagine that would be a 3-year deal to give himself maybe a small window to sign somewhere at the end of his career. You know, maybe even a 3-year team player option in that 3rd year. So maybe like a 2-year deal with a 3rd-year player team option. I still think that people are a little weary to commit to him long term. You know, I mean, for as good as he is and as good as a leader as he is, I don't know what this, but he kind of owns the pay. He's got the leverage now in this contract, in my opinion. He can kind of dictate how long he wants to be somewhere. And he really does feel like he's kind of going wherever he wants to go. You know what I mean? He's kind of waiting on the deal that he wants, and he's beyond patient enough to wait for it. I mean, he's enjoying his time with his family. They were asking him last night. They had a great question, and it was asked by an athlete, and I believe she was a swimmer. But she asked how he deals with burnout and if he had ever had burnout in his athletic life, which I'd imagine that swimming and diving is a very lonely sport, right? I mean, like you're competing individually. There's probably a lot of times that you're in the pool or in the natatorium by yourself, or, you know, just even alone, like on this diving board. And she kind of like went into, you know, like kind of like a tennis player, right? Like, I mean, like if you've read Andre Agassi's book, I mean, the tennis competitor, it's a very lonely life. I mean, you spend a lot of time alone competing and working and practicing, and
it is weird.
It is. And she talked about going through burnout. Like, I mean, like she was like, you know, I mean, there were times where you're like standing and you're like, I don't even want to be here. You know, I don't even want to do this anymore. And for as much football as he's played and at a high level, if he had ever kind of dealt with like, I'm over this. You know what I mean? I've done all I can do in football. And he said, you know, I mean, at times you forget over the last 3 years, he pointed it out last night, he's played more football games than anybody in the league. Think about it. Kansas City's gone to back-to-back Super Bowls in that time, and they just went to the AFC Championship game, and he has not missed a down. And he's played more games than anybody in the league, and he thought the first thing he thought of when free agency hit after that 3-year run was his family. Like, man, I've missed so much. I've been away so much of the time. It was almost like a degree of burnout. It wasn't like I wanted to get away from football. It was just, I need to get away from the game for a minute. I need to unplug from just my professional life and dive back into my, he was very honest. I mean, it was very, you could have heard a pin drop in that room last night from, you know, a lot of, like I said, the majority of the room being 19 to 23, you know, where people are constantly on their phone and not really paying attention. I mean, people were, you looked around. I mean, there was a lot of eyeballs locked into every word that he was saying. And I mean, it made me believe in the moment too. It kind of goes even further of him talking about how he wants to be a coach, how he wants to be a leader, how he wants to lead young people. That to me is not a test, but I mean just a great sign of how gifted he is of being able to. There's not a lot of people that can stand up in the front of that room and own that room and keep the attention span of that demographic like he was. And it wasn't just football players, it wasn't just athletes, it wasn't just, I mean, you had sorority girls sitting in there, you know what I mean, just curious about things in his life and were paying attention to what every word he was saying. It was a cool night. It was cool. I was glad that Jay and his buddy had a chance to be in the room and see it, because he was just very honest.
Do you think that there's an age limit where that stops, where the Badger stops like hitting for like LSU fans or LSU even like representing LSU, or is he just transcend kind of time? Because when it comes to like recruiting or even being able to walk into a room, because you would think that kids that are 18, 19 now never saw him at LSU or weren't really old enough to see him at LSU. So it still feels like he is such a fabric and a part of LSU, what he did here, that it kind of transcends regardless of age.
I think people are I mean, the first thing that Jordan and his buddy did when they got into the truck last night, when we got into the car, was YouTube Tyrann Mathieu highlights at LSU. And I'd imagine that generation
LesMiles.net.
You're talking about 18, 19, 17 years old, people that didn't see him play in person, they have so much access to that now, right? And, I mean, his time, even him last night when, he gets the obvious question every time he comes back here, what was your favorite moment? What was your favorite play that you made at LSU? And, I mean, he even points it out. He's like, I made so many plays. It was like there was just so much that he would affect on the game every time he would step out there.
Though. They're still watching him play in the NFL, so it's not like
right.
He's just like washed up and done, and they don't know what he's
about. I still think that his brand is LSU.
Yeah,
right. Like that's what I was getting at.
Like when you think of the Honey Badger, when you think of Tyrann Mathieu, and he's had a great pro career. Mm-hmm. Like he really has. I mean, to me, he's a borderline Hall of Famer. He's got a Super Bowl ring. He's been a captain on 3 teams. He's has things like Kansas City MVP. I mean, at times he's been in the discussion as the best safety in the league. He's been paid like he's the best safety in the league.
He's been an All-Pro.
He's been an All-Pro. I believe, check me on that, Stu, I believe he's been to 6 Pro Bowls. I mean, to me, he's a
poll question. He's
a borderline Hall of Famer. I mean, he's a great debate in the room, right? Like, I mean, the process of becoming a Hall of Famer is like, I mean, these stories are sacred about what happens behind those closed doors in Canton, Ohio, with all these guys in these gold jackets in the discussion. I'd imagine that the discussion around Tyrann Mathieu would be fascinating to be debated on whether or not he is worthy to be in that club.
Yeah, it would be a good debate.
Because, I mean, obviously we're biased mm-hmm. and have our own, but I would vote for him. I think that he is, if you just step back and look at his accomplishments, and I think you have to take the variables into play. I mean, again, you stand. I mean, some of these pictures that you can see from our studio last week. I mean, Jack is towering over this guy.
It's weird.
I mean, like Noah is standing eye level with, an all-pro safety in the NFL. I mean, the guy he's 5'10", maybe. He's 195 pounds, and he's granite, but still 195 pounds on a football field is like that's like an ant to a windshield. It's like a mosquito to a windshield. I mean, it's just it doesn't make sense. You're not supposed to be.
It doesn't make sense.
You're not supposed to be out there. I mean, it's just you're not gonna win. And he's just defied all of that stuff. And I would imagine that those are some of the points. Like, you have to take into account this guy. I mean, he's 5'10".
He's not supposed to be out here.
He's playing the most physical position on the field.
But our safeties aren't that tall, right? I mean, is this really that strange?
They are.
They're taller.
They're not 5'10". I mean, the wide receivers are 6'3". I mean, science would tell you just throw it up. Just throw the ball over the top of him. But you can't do it. I mean, he's too... I don't know, man. I think, Reed Rule says Hall of Very Good. Rico Delgado, think Hall of Fame safety. TM7 redemption song. And I mean, just look, I think that, I don't know. I think it's a poll question. It's a great poll question. It's up right now. Compliments of our friends over at Southern Eye Center. Remember, 25% off of their sunglass selection if you stop in and see them on Jefferson Highway. But the poll question is up right now. Do you believe that Tyrann Mathieu is a Hall of Famer? He's not Lott. He's not Polamalu. He's not Ed Reed. Good point. Those guys are first ballot Hall of Famers. I'm not saying he's first ballot.
Are they safeties?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, Rod Woodson. I'm not saying that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I wonder if he's a Hall of Famer. I wonder, 10, 15, 20 years from now, when the debate, you really step away from his game. Let's say he gets another Super Bowl. Let's say he gets another All-Pro, 2 more Pro Bowls, just for the resume, right?
1 more Super Bowl.
A captain, he wears another C on his jersey. Be 4 teams he's been a captain on. Sounds like a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When you go down the list of a lot of the accomplishments of Hall of Fame players, I mean, some of the things that he has on his resume currently, right now, seem worthy. Jamal Adams is better than him. No, he's not.
No chance.
Rico's feisty today.
How 9,000? He's no Ronnie Lott. Who is? Brody Dupree, he's getting in. He made the all-decade team for the 2010s. He did. I mean, he was considered in the 2010s as a top 3 safety in that decade. Daily, we're brought to you by Dead Soxy. We got a great promotion going on right now over at Dead Soxy. Get on to deadsoxy.com. In fact, going into the weekend series, LSU, Mississippi State, they've got a great promotion happening. You'll receive 10% off every home run hit by LSU over the 3-game series. It'll be capped at 60%, so you could save up to 60% on your socks over at Dead Soxy. The sale is out of the park. All you got to do is use the promo code Jordy to receive your discount at the conclusion of Sunday's game. The sale will run till midnight on Friday, April 15th. But remember, the promo code is Jordy. Get over to deadsoxy.com following the LSU Mississippi State series and use the promo code. And all you have to do is wait to see how many home runs LSU hits, and they will take nearly 60% off of that bottom line price. They'll take 10% off for every home run hit.
But right now, you can still go to the site and get 25% off of your order, not having anything to do with the game. Do you have Dead Soxy socks on right now?
I do not.
You don't? Okay. Well, y'all have seen them before. The Joe Burrow socks. There's awesome socks on there.
They have great socks. And
they do have tiger
I
stripes.
hate that you asked because I usually do have
You
Dead
usually
Soxy
do. That's
every
why I was
single
looking.
day.
I was like, what are those?
I have the Shaquille O'Neal graphic socks on. I'm at the bottom of the laundry right
Go
now.
check out the
Such a
site
kid.
there.
Those little
Deadsoxy.com.
J socks, are they yours?
Well, I tried to pass him down a little, Jay. I think they're just
those
kind
are
of too
cool.
stretched out and too big for him,
Those are cool.
But Shaq is a Laker, bro.
Are y'all watching the Winning Time?
Yes.
I'm behind 2 episodes, I think. I got to catch up.
The last 2 have been awesome.
I've heard.
Yes.
Don't spoil it.
I've not seen the latest. I saw the one before Sundays, and it was great. God,
Yeah,
I
they're
love Jay.
getting a little bit into the basketball, and now they're getting into like building the forum out. Like it's becoming the show that
Yeah.
It's
it's
incredible.
starting.
It's incredible how much the actors look like the players.
They're good.
he looks like Magic Johnson.
He looks like Kareem.
He looks like Kareem. Looks like Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis has been watching it far too closely. That looks like who's modeling
It's
his life
really
after.
well done.
It is.
Like everything about it is so well done. I was pleasantly surprised.
I read the first 10 pages of the book yesterday too.
Ah.
It's going to be unbelievable.
It's a great
It's
book.
unbelievable.
The book is
Better than the movie?
I don't know if it's better, but like as the movie says, is like there's some things that are dramatized on the series, just kind of it's Hollywood. The book it's directly from. I mean, the most shocking part is just Magic Johnson's. The '80s for Magic Johnson were incredible.
Wild.
You know
What a
I mean?
run.
Like, I mean, it just and they are documented in that book with just firsthand accounts and firsthand sources of Magic Johnson being Magic Johnson in the 80s in Los Angeles. I mean, he ran the town. He ran the place.
There's so much stuff coming up about him now that people are like digging up, like the Howard Stern interview about AIDS and all that. Like there's so many things coming back up.
Well, is there there's a series coming out on
by Magic Johnson on Apple TV.
That's
TV.
right.
It's kind of a response to the Michael Jordan documentary. I mean, he's kind of putting this together. What's it called? This Is Magic.
Yeah, he got cucked by HBO and they're like the Showtime
He
show
did.
because they're gonna like Winning Time is gonna be probably more realistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
In terms of like that's not the message Magic wanted out there,
Right.
but that's the one you're getting, and he's like gonna have his show where it's gonna be nothing but all the good stuff that Magic did. Like it's gonna be through Magic's eyes. It's like,
Right.
oh man, was it really like that? Like Magic, yes. He's gonna act like everything's all good.
Well, of
It is
course.
all good.
It was all good.
I ain't even gonna be here. That's my favorite press conference of all time when Magic quits in the press, and he's like, and they're like, "Well, Magic, what are you gonna do? What are they gonna do for the trade deadline coming up this week?" And he's like, "I ain't gonna be here. I don't even know."
I'm not gonna be
He's
here.
just
Sorry.
bailing on the Lakers. Now he's on national TV when he talks about the Lakers. He refers to him as we. I mean, I know Magic Johnson's got to have a ton of clout within the Los Angeles Lakers organization, but he screwed them a couple of years back. Like, I mean, he put the screws to them. I mean, he's got enough goodwill within the organization where he can overcome it, but what he did to them as the president of basketball operations is tough to overcome. And as you saw last night, Lakers are out. They've played themselves out of it. They're going to be a huge blow up out in Hollywood. I'd imagine that LeBron's on the move, Vogel's out. It's going to be starting over for the Lakers. So
Speaking of your Sox and Shaq and the Lakers, did y'all see the article that he said LSU didn't take care of Sharif?
I
in his podcast?
listened to
You
the podcast. I listened to it. Did anybody listen to it?
I listened to it also, not the whole thing, but the
I thought
clip
it was.
that I put up.
I thought that this is a little out of context.
Very clickbait.
It's very much
Really?
clickbait.
Yes.
I think when he is talking that LSU did not take care of Sharif, I think what he's meaning is that just the coach got fired. It's kind of like how I took it and how he was saying it. Just
Well, he says, and then we go to LSU where I thought they would take care of him, but they didn't. They have their own problems down there.
right, like he was talking about the stuff that they're going through now.
Yeah.
Like it became bigger than basketball. Like because the way that he had set that up was Sharif started at Arizona. He transferred to UCLA. He transfers to LSU. So he was just kind of talking about this whirlwind of experiences in college basketball that Sharif has had. He's never been able to settle his feet. And Shaq was like, I thought that they would be able to take care of him down in Baton Rouge and kind of like get him on solid footing, but they got their own problems. Like now they got coaches. Like what he was meaning was, like they don't even have a coach now. Like they got their own issues, and I thought that I would be able to send him there, and he would be able to finish out college basketball, finish out his career, and be taken care of in the sense of developed, coached, and gotten ready for the NBA.
Yeah.
Because one thing he does go on to say is that he's got Giannis with a jump shot.
I know. Do you agree with that? That's what he says Sharif is, that no one knows that but him.
Well, I mean, you got to imagine, Giannis was a 17-year-old when he was drafted out of an international scouting service where you knew what this guy was going to be.
Right.
Right? I mean, Shaq was like that.
Yeah.
Shaq was like that. When Shaq was first discovered, he was almost a can't-miss prospect because he just had this size. Now, when Dale Brown met him when he was 13, and then you saw him at Cole High School in San Antonio, he had, kind of transformed this body into someone who could handle the agility, handle the running, handle the jumping, handle the catching of this 7-foot frame that looked like really kind of like a baby giraffe. I mean, his legs were all over the place, but he had this athleticism to him where you were just like, he's going to be a freak show once he figures it out. And I mean, his sophomore year at LSU, that picture right there on the wall, right there, he was the National Player of the Year his sophomore season at LSU, and we have a poster on our wall here at the studio. And then even this one right here where he broke the rim.
Yeah.
Break the lamp.
I mean, that right where he is right there in his light. I mean, that's about as good a shape as he is ever in.
Yeah. Yeah, he really is.
And, you know, I mean, he had
Good Lord.
this freakish athletic ability to him.
But I don't see that in Sharif.
But Sharif does have – he's got this – he's a modern-day basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, like, he is a very 2022 edition of what basketball has evolved into. Like, to me, the big boy from David McCormick from Kansas is a throwback. Like, I wonder if he can make it in the NBA. I feel more secure saying that Sharif will make more of an impact in the NBA than McCormick will. And McCormick might be the best player in the sport in college basketball. You know, I mean, just as far as his ability to dominate
a game.
Or like Oscar Tshiebwe. You know what I mean? Tshiebwe doesn't play as much of the back to the basket game as McCormick does, kind of that throwback to Ewing, Olajuwon, Shaq.
Kareem.
But I wonder if like a guy like Sharif is more suited to play longer and be more effective in the league than a big banging body like David McCormick, who can play underneath and get you points in the paint and rebound. And when Sharif can step outside and knock down an 18 to 20 footer, and if you step out and guard him, he can take it to the rim and put it on your face. And he can guard some of these athletic stretch fours of the league, right? Like, you can put him out on the wing and kind of feel he may be able to keep these people in front of him. You know, where, I mean, you put David McCormick out on an NBA floor, who's he going to guard? I mean, because all you got to do is pull McCormick 18 feet away from the basket, and he's on an island. You know, I mean, he's on stilts. Like, oh shit,
Foul.
Yeah, I mean, might as well, or I'm gonna get dunked on.
I just haven't seen him do anything like spectacular. So is he's going to go somewhere else yet again, and then are we going to see it there? Or is it just like a pattern? When are we going to see that?
Well, I mean, Sharif's behind a lot of good players. I mean, it's tough to be behind Tari Eason right now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Tari Eason's a lottery pick. And Sharif, Shaq says it on the podcast. He's got to get tougher.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, one thing that Shaq would always, I would hear the conversation. Shaq would always call Wade and tell him, toughen my guy up. He's too soft. And Wade would tell him, I mean, Shaq, he was born on a private jet. You know what I mean? Like, he traveled the world on a private jet. He's like, you know what I mean? Even though you say, I'm rich, my kids aren't, he's still got a $25,000 necklace on.
Rolls up to practice in a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like, I'm trying to toughen him up. You know what I mean? But I mean, Cat's got more in his account than I do. I'm making $2 million a year. I mean, it's a mentality with Sharif that you got to stay on the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, an athlete's best ability is availability.
Right.
I mean, you got to be available. And one thing that Sharif has been throughout his basketball life, and look, man, he's had open heart surgery. He's had some things that he's had to deal with. But I mean, he's also had a nagging foot and ankle injury that have kept him off the floor and really kept him away from action. But when he's right and when he's healthy, I mean, he gets to the glass, he rebounds, he's not scared to attack offensively, he's got good skill, he can handle the ball enough where, you know, I mean, he can get better at it. I know,
but it's like you said, when he's right and healthy. I mean, that's been so rare.
Yeah. I mean, you got to, that's on him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
where do you think he ends up? Like, it's obviously going to be a Power 5, I'd imagine, or else he would have hit the portal.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
What,
I mean,
like, where does, is he a blue, is
Kentucky.
That's what I was going to say, is he blue blood?
Absolutely. 100%.
Maybe that'll be the right spot for him.
Every high-end roster has room for 6'9" athlete.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, people are lining up for Alex Fudge. I mean, Fudge and O'Neal are probably the two on the roster because Murray, I believe, is going to Georgetown with Nickelberry. I think Efton Reed is somebody that's intriguing. But to me, the top two prospects on LSU's roster that I would be going after would be Alex Fudge, Sharif O'Neal, and then maybe Justice Williams. Because everybody needs a ball handler. Everybody needs a point guard. And Justice Williams, as a high school senior, playing at the level he did last year in the SEC, has to have a lot of teams saying, man, his jump from year 1 to year 2 is going to be significant, and everybody's got room for somebody that can break a press. You know what I mean? That can break pressure. But But Sharif and Fudge are probably the NBA kind of, when you look potential prospects that people look at and say, those would be my top 2 selections off of LSU's team that are available. I'm taking Brandon Murray off the board. If Murray's available, he's my top pick. But I believe that Murray will end up at Georgetown, around his hometown in Maryland, back with Kevin Nickelberry. I believe that Kevin Nickelberry got that job because he told Patrick Ewing, I can bring you players. So I think Sharif's a pro. I think Sharif still has to develop. And I think Shaq's comments about LSU were taken way out of context. It was clickbait for sure. I mean, if you go back and listen to the context of the conversation, it really was just he was hoping to send Sharif to Baton Rouge for some stability because he had been to Arizona, he had been to UCLA, he was sending him to LSU. All right, I say he wasn't sending him to LSU. Sharif chose to go to LSU looking for stability, and he got here and it didn't happen.
It still sucks, though, because it sounds just like more negative press than LSU coming from Shaq.
Yeah, but you know what? You can take that coming with Shaq because he's donated, probably $3 million already this year. You know what I mean? And we just ended
$3 more million are coming.
We just ended the first quarter. You know what I mean? The guy. It's Love Shaq University.
Right.
LSU. He knows he can say that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it was. I don't think it was a shot. It wasn't a shot at LSU. It was a shot at just how
unfortunate some circumstances have been.
It's a messed up situation right now.
Yeah.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. CajunRMC.com is where you can find them online. 9 plant locations, concrete plant locations around the greater Baton Rouge area, which means if you order concrete, it'll be to you on time to the exact specification. No job too big, too small for Cajun Ready Mix. All you got to do is log online to CajunRMC.com, whether it's a residential project, commercial project, municipal project, or an industrial project. Cajun Ready Mix is ready for your order today. Online at CajunRMC.com, CajunRMC.com. Shelby Kelly asks, who's had a better NFL career, Tyrann Mathieu or Malcolm Jenkins?
And Malcolm Jenkins is not a Hall of Famer, right?
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so either. So I guess you have to say Tyrann. I wonder I guess you'd have to look at the numbers, unfortunately, to kind of get a baseline. But I feel like Malcolm Jenkins has had, when you look at the ancillary parts, they're very similar in terms of what they've done, captain-wise, off the field, how they're revered, stuff like that. They're probably in the same vein of respect because Malcolm Jenkins has had a long, long career and was always pretty much a stalwart on any back end of any defense. So they're cut from the same vein, I'd imagine, of captain, a guy back there you can trust, leader in the locker room, all that stuff. But I don't know what the numbers would bear out to be. But I would take Tyrann.
Yeah, I would take Tyrann.
For context, Malcolm Jenkins is 34. Tyrann Mathieu is 29. Malcolm Jenkins has 3 Pro Bowls. Tyrann Mathieu has 3 Pro Bowls and 3 first-team All-Pros.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So close the book on that.
First-team All-Pros is a separator of an argument.
Yeah.
It separates the argument because the players are voting on that. Those are your peers that are voting on that award. It's not the fans vote on the Pro Bowls, and Pro Bowls I think look great on a resume, but when it comes down to it,
All-Pro
it's
teams
not
don't
as
matter.
tough as you would imagine. I would believe to make a pro. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. It's hard to do, but if you're early on, Tyrann Mathieu was probably making Pro Bowls because he was the Honey Badger, because he was getting the fan vote, right? Where when you get those All-Pro votes, that means that your peers are looking at you and saying he's the best at what he does.
And NFL top 100s.
And three on that resume compared to 0 on Malcolm Jenkins. As we said, that closes the door on the argument. All right, stick around. We're going to talk to Nick Underhill. Is going to stop by here. We're also going to answer your mailbag questions here, which we will get to after this small break here on the Jordy Culotta Show. But Nick Underhill will be here shortly explaining the New Orleans Saints trade earlier this week between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Saints. We'll also get the latest on Tyrann Mathieu's visit to New Orleans yesterday from Underhill. We'll ask him what he's heard and what the thought is. Does Mathieu fit into that locker room, and can they get him in from a financial standpoint to New Orleans? If not, where does he think he lands? Lots to get to with Underhill. If you have a Saints question, jump in. But more pressing, if you've got a mailbag question, make sure you get it sent in next because we'll answer them here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Rolloffs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Rolloffs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us. It's okay. Just get us out there. Share us out there. We're having fun. We want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
Southern Eye Center is located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the Capital Region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out, southerneyecenters.com, and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Big guest today on Mic'd Up, Patrick Queen coming through the studio. Make sure you're logged in and subscribe to the Mic'd Up YouTube channel, 11 to 1 o'clock Monday and Wednesday, and every Friday, 3:30 to 5:30 from Uncle Earl's. Make sure that you are marking that down and building the community. We're trying to get you over there for happy hour. We'll be talking pregame baseball. We'll be talking a lot of stuff coming up with the draft over there with Mic'd Up. Make sure and stop in and check us out 3:30 to 5:30.
And the gear is on the way. I know
Nice.
people keep asking. It's printed. They're setting up the online store. So soon we will have gear for Mic'd Up. And I think you'll be able to purchase some of that live at his Uncle Earl shows. Y'all got to get out there to get it, though.
3:30 to 5:30 every Friday, Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1 o'clock, including today with Patrick Queen. Coming up on Mic'd Up, so make sure and check out Mic'd Up. Be subscribed to that so you can check out the latest. All right, Nick Underhill is going to be here in the second hour. We're going to talk New Orleans Saints. Saints at the center of a big trade in the NFL as Philadelphia and Saints and the New Orleans Saints swapped first-round picks. Saints now have 2 first-round picks to play with in the later this month's NFL draft. So we'll talk to Underhill about strategy there and hopefully get an explanation on what this trade
Please,
means.
for the love of
For
God, we've been
God's
trying to get
sakes.
an explanation for
Jesus
24
Christ.
hours.
I mean,
Wait, is he a
good
video call?
Lord. He is
Can
not.
be. We'll hit him up on the road. Always hits the spillway,
He is not.
and I'll jump off the spillway. Throw me out the window.
Are we doing
I will
any video
shove you
call
in
today?
off the spillway, Lloyd.
The worst way to go.
We do not have
Cell phone.
one set up. I've texted Embody.
I feel like we need to have one set up, right?
We gotta go over the baseline rules of headphones and iPhone, and then we got it figured out.
I don't know. I feel nervous and I feel
You?
scared. PTSD. I know.
I don't even want to talk about this trade.
I know.
That's what brings up it all starts from there. If the States just would have sat quiet, not done anything, we'd all be good.
I know. Seriously.
This is on you, Loomis. Ireland. It's not even worth a trade. I don't even know what they did.
Me either. That's why. That's the whole
No.
purpose of this.
Pick swap.
Get me somebody on a video that can explain this.
Me. Dude, maybe Mike Triplett didn't know either, and he filibustered.
How
a
would we
little.
rate the headset throw? It was not Saban, but it was not Meyer. by
No,
any
Meyer
means.
was just in between.
Saban had to break that headset when
Yeah,
he threw it.
Yeah.
that was a hard
I mean, that
throw.
was that felt like that snapped at the spine.
Had a little O in you. Little
Just kind of a-
Yeah,
little
little-
O headset. Little O headset throw.
Right, just the
After Jake Peets
Yeah.
messed up in the
It
red
was
I'm
zone.
the
out.
throw
Yeah.
and then the
I'm
leave,
out.
the immediate
I'm
walk
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
You did. You did a Will Wade at halftime. You just kind of walked out the room without
Yeah.
your team.
yeah,
I'll see y'all in the locker room.
waiting for y'all in the locker room.
No.
Back turn
I'm
when
over
you
here
walked in.
scared. Like,
already
what's gonna
writing,
happen?
already on the whiteboard. It's like, oh no.
Fuck Lloyd.
Stewie's over there just like wide-eyed, like.
It's like, I don't
Fine
know.
new
I don't know what's going on.
assistant producer.
That's why nobody wants to
Dot
share.
dot dot! Exclamation point!
Any ideas?
Right.
Lord, who do you know that's good at this?
Let's start going through your contact list, fellas.
Do you know anybody that knows how to do this?
I was so
We
scared.
need an AV company.
All right, mailbag questions every week here. Lloyd, you got some imaging here?
No, it's on the old
Okay,
board.
you're fucking
I
Oh,
know,
God.
dude. Well, this needs a sound card. We just got to buy another thing, and I didn't want to bring that up.
Lazy fuck.
Yeah, don't bring that
Let's
up.
see if I can find-
Cody,
mail-
where are you? Can you buy us another
Mailbag
soundboard?
question. Let's go, Stewie. Read them off. Who we got?
William Ivy. Maddest Jordy has ever been on air. Was it yesterday?
Yes.
Ooh,
100% yes.
I don't think so.
What? Lloyd.
You think so?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
On-
Yeah,
on-
here. That's what I'm saying. There's got to be another one.
No,
I've
they
seen.
said on air.
Yeah, no, but I've seen. I guarantee it get the other place.
What?
It gets
he wasn't
prickly.
yelling at
Oh,
anybody
guarantee
like that.
off- but guarantee
On
off air?
On air.
Oh, on air, that's
was
going to
the
happen. I want
question.
that to happen here. That's you get to see
Yeah.
how the sausage is made. But off-air talent at the other spot was brutal because
Really?
they knew
Brutal.
you were. Yeah, they knew you weren't on, and it was just like you saw people just.
There's
Lose
no
it.
way you
Lose
yelled
it.
like
Lose
that
it.
at guarantee.
Yes.
Yeah, you
no,
can.
No, I've seen some melts,
No,
and
you.
I mean,
The question is this the maddest you have ever been on air? Why can't y'all get the question right? It's very simple. Yes is the answer.
See,
Are you telling us you screamed at someone like that at guarantee live on air?
not on air.
not on air.
No.
I'm glad we kept it up.
Yeah.
Kept it on.
Yeah.
See, I didn't delete it. It's private, but I can make it public. There's no shame in this
No,
game.
it's public.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he
Yeah,
made
it's
it private, right?
You told me to take it down. I was like, I'm not taking it down.
You know,
We
I
don't
was-
run from our mistakes here.
Well, I wasn't running from my mistakes. I was just embarrassed about the
content.
the call,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
content. Yeah,
That'll look
man.
good.
Yes,
Video
the
was
answer
there.
to William
Clown
Ivy's
circling
question is
plates,
yes.
fucking juggling plates, man.
needed
Next
the red-
mailbag question. What you got,
We needed the
Stewie?
red panda.
George the Greek. What did Jordy tell Lloyd?
Oh,
Oh, we
Jesus.
got a theme here. We got a theme. I get it. Okay. All right, we got a theme.
You
It
didn't
was.
tell him
It
anything.
wasn't. It really wasn't on me and Lloyd. You know what I mean? It wasn't me versus Lloyd.
Right.
It's me versus technology.
And me versus technology.
Yeah, it's
we were on
us
the same
versus
team.
technology.
I know,
Yeah,
but in
really.
the moment, it looked like it was between
Well,
you.
sure. I mean,
Well, yeah,
in the
it's us
moment,
to
it probably
me.
was because
Absolutely.
I mean, Lloyd's the one manning the controls.
Absolutely. Yeah, look at me over
But
here.
He's
I
flying the
understand.
plane.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
I understand that. You know, I mean, we are building the plane in the air, and to me, a month after having a piece of equipment, if we're going to let you in, we're going to let you
Yeah,
in.
yeah, come on in.
A
water
month
sucks.
after having
Jesus.
a piece of equipment, you know what I mean? We're still dealing with some of the similar issues, but not similar issues because we've crossed over and gotten past some audio and some video stuff, and then something pops up and we can't master it right now. And it's frustrating, and it's frustrating for you to see that, and it's frustrating for our sponsors to be attached to that. And all of that stuff came through at the conclusion of yesterday's show. And, you know, I mean, that's what happened. That's what you saw. I mean, that was just a frustrating boiling point, getting to a spot where it was just like, enough. Let's fix this. Let's get this right. Let's stop allowing, our consumers to see
stepping on our own dicks.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get out of our own
Always
way.
stepping on my own dick.
Yeah.
What
it's
people
huge.
didn't see
It's
was
huge.
you came back in and we all sat and nobody ran out or left. Like, we talked it out, worked through stuff, right?
And then we broke some news.
And
It was actually a good day for
it
us,
turned into
though.
a great day. We all sat there and
It
said
was.
that. Look what happened. Look
It
what
was.
ended
It
up
was a
happening.
Tyrann Mathieu type day. You had to beat adversity.
Yeah.
And absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Couple
You had
of
to, you had to
great
push through it.
interviews
And I do believe
But I forgot Rohan witnessed the whole thing.
our
too.
organization.
I totally forgot he was sitting here watching
Did I
the
tell
whole
you,
thing.
Rose the first person that I saw afterwards and that said something to me. He pulled me in the hall. He was like, sometimes you just got to have a players only meeting, coach.
He was like, players only meeting.
I kind of forgot he was over here the whole time. And I was
He was like,
he's
but
not
you were
saying a
right. He was
word.
like, you said the right stuff, man.
He's like, I walked into a locker room.
It was great. It was great.
Love
man.
to see that.
But look, man, we're just trying to build a standard. That's it. You know what I mean? Just we're an early part, and I think what we've probably done a poor job up to this point to you is explaining that this has become a lot more than the Jordy Culotta show, than Mic'd Up. This is a company that we have started since moving into this studio space that we're calling FM Digital Media, that we are, siloing off channels and categories that we're trying to sell advertising around and build digital properties and digital media around, FM cooking. If you're not following that on social media or Instagram yet, please get
FM
over
food.
to FM_food to follow that on Instagram. FM Outdoors on YouTube already has content up and moving. We're in the process of developing FM Lifestyle, which will be a channel focusing on, community-oriented events and things going on and around pop culture with different personalities. Mikey and I are kind of in the sports space. We'll be bringing in more people and more personalities. Lance and Christy Fauché, the cooking couple, are really taking on the FM food silo and building that digital property for us. So we're turning this into a business. We're turning this into a company. We are a company. We are a business, and we want to make sure and try and set a standard and bring that to you every day. We want to have fun, and we don't mind you seeing behind the curtain, but we don't want to, I thought yesterday was just a little embarrassing for us, and that's why I pulled the plug on it. And that's where we were, and we kind of huddled up as a team afterwards and talked it out and, put stuff, down on how we can make it better, and, you move on. And yesterday, as we said, we had a great day. I mean, we ended up talking to Zion's stepdad, Lee Anderson, and, being at the center of a lot of NBA news that was circulating around the country. All in all, it was a positive day
win.
for our company. I mean, it really was. And, you seeing the 3 to 5 minute spat that ended up, with me throwing a little miniature temper tantrum on air was
6 out of 10 for Jordy.
I apologize for that, but I mean, I also don't, because that's what we're trying to get from that, is that we want to build this brand, and sometimes we're gonna fall on our face like we did yesterday. I mean, you got John Brady waiting behind the scenes, you got Mike Triplett waiting
He was
behind the scenes.
literally rolling his eyes and blowing like on air. I was like, oh my God. And
Well, you couldn't hear him, but he looked great.
He
we
let
could
go
hear
with
him.
he did the
He did. I was like, oh God.
get
I
out
didn't even
of
want
here.
to look
Let's
at
get
you.
out
I
of
was like,
here.
I was
Let's
staring
get out
right
of
at him.
here.
He looked good.
Building a company from scratch is no freaking joke, y'all. And
No, it's
sometimes
not.
we get mad.
It is not.
I mean,
It is not, man. It is.
it's amazing how far we've come.
Last night was the first night that I laid my head down on the pillow, fell asleep, and woke up at 4:30 in the morning. Was the first night I had slept from the time that I put my head down and the entire night, and I cannot tell you when.
Well, so you had a release yesterday.
I
that
did, no
needed to
doubt, no doubt.
happen.
It was a positive day from what I'm saying, but it's also going into the stresses of building a company.
Yeah.
The stresses of starting a company. I mean, there are a lot of sleepless nights. There are a lot of days that you wonder, how are we going to get to the next point? But somehow we get there, and we figure it out, and we've got great people here. And that's the beautiful part of, I'm sure, your company your business or whatever you're doing successful in your life is probably the people, right, around it. And I believe we've got great people, and we continue to add on great people. And sometimes it's just frustrating that we're not at the spots where we want to be. And yesterday was one of those moments, and you saw it. And what's the next question, Stewie?
It's going to be about that.
Love you, Jordy.
Love you, Jordy. You're a great boss.
We
Thank
love
you,
you.
Jordy.
The broke Bruce Wayne. What would have a bigger impact? Zion's return to the starting lineup or Honey Badger going to the Saints?
Ooh.
Well,
That's a
I
great
mean,
question.
I would think Zion to the starting lineup.
bigger impact
Mhm.
than Honey Badger going to the Saints?
Are we
Those
talking
are
about on the
superstar
team
away.
or to the city?
Just for the teams.
I would think for the team, Zion would be a bigger impact
Just
of
'cause of the
going back.
sport.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to the sport and then putting him in that lineup, to me is very, very curious to see what that would look like. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I mean him playing alongside. I mean, I do wonder what the chemistry would be like at this point because the Pelicans are playing so well and they're playing with a lot of confidence and they're playing. They're just playing really good basketball. So anytime you throw anybody into the mix, whether it's a superstar or a role player, I think there's going to be a little bit of, we got to figure this out. You know what I mean? Like you got to kind of get your feet underneath you. So I don't know if this is the right time to do it going into the playoffs. Maybe it is. Willie Green seems to have been hitting every right button up to this point. But I think that it would probably be, it would be Zion.
That's a hard one, though.
It is. I mean, it's not a. I don't think it's a slam door. And city impact, I'd probably
would
take
be
Tyrann, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
I think if Tyrann signs with the Saints by that night, he will have the leading sales jersey in the league.
Absolutely.
He will. He will be trending towards
Absolutely.
the top of the jersey sales.
We already have.
And
Zion
even if he
jerseys.
wasn't 7, everybody would just go on NFL.com
Yeah,
and
and make your
personalize
own.
the 7. Like
Yeah.
Taysom Hill, read the room, dude.
Yeah.
Get a clue.
Poor Taysom.
We got Stewie.
Wait, can he be 7? Oh, I guess you can be any number. But if it wasn't for because they moved him from quarterback to tight end, had there not been a rule change, he would have to change his number.
Yeah, would have.
Yeah, and Tyrann wouldn't have been able to 7. So moot point.
Bruise with Drew, 11B. Is Blow
Is that his
Ohio
room
State?
number?
That's his Instagram. This is from Instagram.
Plugging himself?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
Clout demon.
That's
Is
amazing.
Ohio State, I'm guessing he's talking about Ohio State, the Catholic high of the 90s. Both fan bases are awful. Both programs were
love this guy.
consistently overrated. Both didn't win when it matters.
Jesus, you mad about Catholic?
went to school.
Welcome to
Did you
Parkview
go to
fan to this chat.
right?
Yes, he hates
I
Catholic.
got love for that, man.
Oh man.
Copy.
Oh, he's back.
Copper walked in at the top of the mountain too
He did.
yesterday.
Yeah.
And he sat. I was telling Kelly, he sat pressed against you when you were screaming. Did you
Really?
notice that? Yes.
No,
He's a support
It was
dog.
like,
here,
yeah,
buddy.
he was.
Come here, buddy.
He was taking your energy, I think.
definitely. Sometimes when I felt like I ain't got anybody, me and Copy been making it through it, buddy. I mean,
Come over here, dude.
yeah, man.
You don't understand
We've
what's
been
going
going
on.
through it, man.
Exactly.
Next question. What you guys say?
Chase with no Insta, but it's from Instagram. Does someone at the JC show run LSU Barstool, or do they just take everything from y'all? I guess it's good enough for ESPN. It's definitely good enough for LSU Barstool.
No comment.
No comment.
No comment.
I plead the
No comment.
fifth.
Yes. Cody Boudreaux with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Cody. Wifey must be out of town. If Mathieu signs with the Saints, I will lift my grown man wearing a jersey band.
Ooh.
Oh.
What would
Cody,
make you
that's
cross
big.
over? Is there a player that would make you cross over to wear a jersey? I still feel like I can get away with my jersey love by just throwing the jersey on Jay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
by proxy jersey.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
not
So if
fair.
I just show up to the party with the kid wearing a jersey, I'm like, yeah, man. I mean,
Yeah, and
the
and
one he
little-
wanted.
Yeah, little
He-
Jay, you like, dude, this is cool. Take
Right,
this one. Yeah, like
absolutely.
I'm helping you.
Yes.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
No, I still wouldn't wear it, but that would be one. That'd be a cool one to have. Like put it on the wall if you could get it signed. I don't do that either. Not a big memorabilia guy.
But it'd be cool if you did.
It'd be cool if you have it though.
You're not a big memorabilia guy, or you're not a big jersey guy at all?
Any-
'Cause
any of
I'm
it.
not wearing a jersey, but I love a good memorabilia.
Clearly,
ring.
look at the room.
Right.
Do you like memorabilia?
But
Weird.
yeah, I just never. Once you, I feel like it's too far gone now. I missed it to start building that. I don't even have anywhere to put
What do
it.
you mean? You're about to die or something.
Well, I know, but the things
not
that
too
I
far
would have
gone.
wanted, I haven't gotten. Like, it would be a lot of like Tyrann Mathieu stuff, and it would have been when I was like peak LSU fandom. And now it's kind of that bridge is I've already
What's your
crossed
top piece of memorabilia?
I have LeBron James's autograph. I met him in the tunnel after he torched the Hornets.
Wow, and he signed an autograph.
I went back there, had a little greased
you
the
have
wheels a little bit.
pen in the
somebody.
hand?
Yep.
Yeah.
Had a little
You were
Sharpie
ready.
that they told me to bring. They signed the score sheet. It's awesome.
Wow.
That
I
is
have that.
awesome. Do
That's
you
a
have it
great one.
framed?
No,
No,
it's
you have it like
it's
some in a drawer somewhere.
Yeah,
just rotting?
it's somewhere. I don't even know where it is, but it's somewhere in my room.
Jesus, Lloyd. Come
I
on.
don't even about a material man.
Stewie, any good piece of memorabilia? How old are you, Stewie?
25.
Yeah, you're still young.
I have like a basketball from the All-Star game, like All-Star weekend. And I have
Signed?
LeBron's jersey from that All-Star weekend in New Orleans.
Like the actual?
The actual,
Like he threw
No,
you
no,
his
no,
shirt?
like we bought it in the fucking store.
That
from
on
the
the wall.
NBA store. Sorry,
Bring it here.
Good God.
I mean, I wish.
Yeah, right.
I
Suddenly
wouldn't
drop
bring
that
it
in.
anywhere. I think it would be framed.
You got LeBron's game winner jersey, but I mean,
Yeah.
other than that,
I'm not a big memorabilia
Probably would
guy.
have sold it by now, though. Honestly, like I probably would have. If I had LeBron's game worn jersey, I probably would have sold it.
really.
I think you would still hold on to that for like a while, because that would age gracefully,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like a card
Sell it
collector.
Have you ever heard the story of Brandon Landry's father-in-law,
No,
Billy Joe Tolliver, right?
BJT.
Former New Orleans Saints backup quarterback, kind
That's his father-in-law?
of the Chase Daniels before Chase Daniels. He was the lifelong backup that bounced around the league and was on rosters and had a great career, made a ton of money, but was a superstar on the Celebrity Golf Tour.
Oh,
Look it up.
What
Guy
a-
was
what a dream.
Habitually winning all of these tournaments. And I can't do this story justice. But Billy Joe will never tell this story publicly. So I could either try and, flirt with this story and try to tell it, or like BG Lanois
Video call
and
him.
Brandon Landry can tell it better than anybody. But like the story goes that Billy Joe Tolliver he's a stud on the Celebrity Golf Tour, like still is. He's still like a scratch golfer to this day. And him and Michael Jordan got paired together at one of these celebrity tournaments, and MJ fell instantly in love with him because Billy Joe was not intimidated by him. He was kind of messing with him. And the next day, MJ asks Billy Joe to play in the group. And the story goes is that like Billy Joe Tolliver took like $150,000 off of Jordan, and beat the brakes off of him on the golf course, like beat him for a ton of cash, or a ton of cash to you and I, but what they pay for, they paying like $25,000 a hole. I mean,
that is an arena that even for Billy Joe, I'm sure made a lot of money. I'm
And
sure
in the night-
MJ starts up in the ante.
and
I'm gonna make you
MJ
uncomfortable.
starts doubling up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he starts like taking shots, like I closest to the hole here, double or nothing for the day. And like Billy Joe's like, fuck it,
Hell yeah.
let's ride. You know what I mean? And like he's like putting it like within 3 feet. He's kicking his ass all day. I mean, and from there he's kind of like needling MJ. And MJ, you know what I mean? Like he's a little out of his comfort zone. You know what I mean? Where he's not the alpha. And they end up having like a great relationship. Ended up having like hitting it off. And MJ tells him at the 19th hole, I'll give you an option. Or no, Billy Joe like flips to see, like, I don't know the story to tell it well enough to. Billy Joe's told it one time in front of me, and it is the best story I've ever heard from like athlete on athlete. Just the way that he tells the story, the way that he like he kind of fucks with Jordan in the middle of the story. I mean, it's an incredible story to hear. But Billy Joe proposes to Jordan, rather than paying me the $150K, give me 2 courtside tickets to any game that I want to go to this year coming up. And Jordan was going into 96. This is on the comeback.
So he's still playing. Okay.
No, he's in his prime.
Yeah.
He's in his prime. And Billy Joe calls him in the finals of the Sonic series. They're playing GP and Sean Payton. It's the series
The glove.
with the glove. And calls him and gets 2 courtside or 2 behind the Bulls bench. And he sits there for game 5 or 6. I believe it was the Father's Day game where Jordan's crying on the basketball in the room. I mean, the story is epic. And Jordan does his post-game sideline interview with Ahmad Rashad. And as he's walking off the court, takes the game jersey off, throws it to Billy, tells him we're square, you fucking hick, and meets him in the back of the locker room. Signs the game worn with the dirt and tells him we're square.
That's
and
amazing.
I mean, Billy Joe telling that story is, I mean, it had the whole, and he'll never tell it publicly. Like, we've had Billy Joe on one time, and I tried to kind of corner him to tell it, and he kind of got annoyed with me after. Like, I told you not to. I'm not telling that story publicly. Because, I mean, MJ don't want that stuff getting around, I mean, like from his inner circle.
That's awesome.
That he lost at something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not what he said.
But the cleanup is just, I mean, it was
awesome.
like that, the Larry Bird, fuck you, bitch. When they're hugging. I mean, it's, but it is
That's awesome.
a phenomenal story. What we got, Stewie? Anything else?
Yeah, Rico Delgado.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a little shot at me, I guess. Can we please start calling Stewie Baba Stewie? A little tip of the cap to Howard Stern.
Baba Booey.
No, Rico, you short racist.
Speaking of Stewie.
At least he didn't pick the other one. Jesus.
What's the other
Yes.
one?
No, instead Beetlejuice. That would have been a real insult.
Howard Stern?
Yes.
Well, I don't get it.
Do you watch Howard Stern?
No.
I grew up on Howard Stern.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Yes.
I did not.
I should not have been watching it.
On E?
On E, yes,
Yeah.
late night.
Yeah, I never cared.
Late night, huh?
It was awesome. It was
What else
great
did you
radio.
watch?
Yeah.
What else were you watching late night, Lloyd?
Brooke Burke, Wild On.
HBO? Little HBO late night,
I
Lloyd?
didn't have HBO. That's how I was.
Skin 'em back.
Yeah, I was trying to find something on E and go through the fuzzy channels, and I landed on
Watch
Howard
the fuzz.
Stern, and I was like, actually, this is great programming.
Catch the audio.
Yes.
Real
Before
sex on
podcast.
HBO.
That's
Real
right.
sex.
Real sex.
Taxi Cab
That was always
Confessions.
the one you tried to
Yeah.
watch.
GoFlow IV brings you the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, online at GEAUXFlowIV.com. Use the promo code Jordy Culotta Show. You'll receive 15% off of your initial visit over there. On Jefferson Highway, check them out, GEAUXFlowIV.com. Easiest way to make the appointment is online. They take walk-ins, but look, they recommend that you make an appointment. They also offer memberships over there, 3-month, 6-month, annual memberships. It's Baton Rouge's premier medical spa specializing in IV hydration treatments with vitamin infusion. Stop in and check them out today over at GoFlow, GEAUXFlowIV.com. This is GoFlowIV.com, located on Jefferson Highway. We appreciate the mailbag questions. We appreciate you interacting with us every week here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Pro Day coming up today. We will be out at Pro Day. And looking forward to this. It's been a while since we've been to this event. Katie asked us if it was entertaining. It's not too. I mean, like all it is kind of standing around and watching. The on the field stuff is pretty entertaining because you kind of see people going through the drills and going through the workouts. But I mean, there'll be like a bench press segment. There'll be like a vertical leap segment. There'll be like a broad jump. There'll be some of the things that you're just like you're just sitting there, watching somebody lift weights. I mean, after you see how much they're lifting, you're like, all right, cool. On to the next one. Where are we at next? I mean, you've got 22%. How many guys are going through this? We got Cade York, Andre Anthony, Avery Atkins, Damone Clark will be there. He's just not going through the drills, obviously, with the news of him having to have the spinal surgery. Ty Davis Price, Austin Deculus, Darren Evans, Neil Farrell, Cordell Flott, Chasen Hines, Ed Ingram, John Trey Kirkland, Cam Lewis, Glenn Logan, Liam Shanahan, Jamal Pettigrew, Derek Stingley. What is that? 17 participants there for LSU's Pro Day today. Obviously, Stingley will be the headliner. I expect Stingley to make a lot of headway today. I think this is going to be a huge day for Derek Stingley Jr. I think that he is going to really put a lot of the discussion around him to bed. Today is really meant and built for a player like Stingley. I still think that there will be some general managers and some owners and some scouts that will have questions about his last 2 years and what's happened on the field. But today, vertical leap, 40-yard dash, bench press, broad jump, all this stuff that you grade athletes on, or football players specifically on their athleticism, Derek Stingley Jr. is absolutely built for the next 8 hours of his life. From everything from the on the field to the testing to the interviews. This is everything that Stingley is going to absolutely crush in this process. I think that today for him is going to be enormous. And then they're going to put him on the field. And like we've said all along, him in a one-on-one setting, in a workout type setting where you've got somebody leading the drills, right? I mean, Stingley's only going to be put in situations today that really are going to allow him to shine. And there's not much at this game that he can't do. But you are really going to be focusing on his back pedal, his getting out of the back pedal, shifting into a sprint, the way that he defends wide receivers on the sideline, his technique on jamming, his technique on everything of playing the defensive back position is absolutely flawless. This isn't coming from me. These are people that have experience playing the position, pros, Hall of Famers, that look at him and say, wow, he's next level from a technique standpoint. And now you put that into a setting where, I mean, it's all around testing and technique and interviewing. I think that Stingley today is going to really up the interest and up the ante on him becoming once again in the discussion of the top cornerback off the board. And I think a lot of people have been waiting for today. Not just LSU fans, not just his family, not just his supporters. NFL personnel has been waiting today to see who is Derek Stingley. Where is he physically? And with big question marks that people are going to have going into today, and with anybody carrying in any doubt, because the people that I've spoke to, whether it's around his medical team or whether it's people close to him, just from a personal standpoint, he is oiled up, ready to go. I mean, he is primed and ready to go today. Throw the cover off the Corvette and drive. I mean, today is put it on the open road and open it up. Sprinting, jumping, on the field skill, technique, weight room, interview room. Go be a top 10 pick. Go be the number one cornerback taken off the board. Stingley can open and close the argument today. I think it's going to be a huge day for Derek Stingley. I really do.
On the poll, I'll put a question up. Over under 4.38 for the 40.
Under.
It's trending over.
Watch him run a
4.32. That's where I'm at. I think it's going to be 4.35.
Is that what he
lower.
ran at the? Didn't he run the 4.32 at the combine his senior year at high school? I think they tested him at the New Orleans Saints.
4.39.
He ran a 4.39.
Yeah, but I mean 4.39 at 17 years old is ridiculous.
Toot Robinson, they know what he can do on the field. They do, but they still want to see it again. It's been a while, right? I mean, it's been a minute. And, today you have the authority from a pro scouting standpoint, a decision maker, an NFL guy to step out onto the field and say, hey, Sting, show me this. Hey, Sting, do that. And, him in person, that technique so refined at 21, knowing that you're already really kind of past that learning curve of being a pro. There's still curves that you've got to pass. But the technical aspect of becoming a pro that's a big get. You really got to buy in and get that. From Stingley's standpoint, he's equipped, ready to go, and has been since his junior year of high school. It'll be fun to see him today, man.
That's what I'm saying. I think you're underselling Pro Day a little bit. You said it's not that exciting. I think when you have a prospect like this.
When you got a prospect like this.
And Jamar Chase last year, I think LSU has kind of been the Pro Day mecca the last couple of years.
And look, I think that's more little bit of
home cooking.
Spoiled. You know what I mean? Like you sometimes you don't realize how cool events are when you this will be your 10th one. I mean, and it becomes the bench press, the 40. I mean, it's a lot of follow the herd. You're kind of behind the pack. You know what I mean? But once you get these guys out onto the field, it's all worth it. I mean, because you just kind of see them, you know, you see them in their world. You see them in their element. I mean,
is it open to the public? Like,
no, it's not open to the public.
No one else can watch besides media.
A family and friends will be there, and then you know, there's a lot of security. I mean, there'll be head coaches there. Mike Tomlin was at. There was a 4-year stretch where Mike Tomlin was at every LSU pro day.
Really?
The New Orleans Saints staff were down every year. Sean Payton would be there. I don't know if it was just for show, but I mean, they were constantly packing up the power structure of the Saints and bringing them down for the day to the facility.
Well, I'm guessing Tyrann Mathieu will be out there, right?
I don't know if he'll be there. I don't know.
I think he's gone. I feel like he's been here forever.
I don't know if he'll be there today. He would probably be a distraction today.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
I guess so.
There would be there would probably be a lot of attention on him when really today is about, you know, it's about Stingley. I mean, after Stingley, who's the most intriguing prospect?
At Ingram. It would have been Damone Clark, but obviously he's injured, so I guess nobody really moves the needle. But Stingley, I mean, put that thing on 10 because after you said, after he's done, he'll probably. Do you think he goes last so everybody else can get a little bit of shine? In terms of they have to kind of stick around for a workout, and then you put Stingley out. Tyrese Price will be fun to watch. Yeah, that's a good one. At Ingram, because he's probably the most draftable of those two.
Cade York.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. But you know, it'll be a show. But he's not gonna like run. He'll probably kick a couple balls.
Today could be a big day for Cordell Flott.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Cordell Flott.
I think that Cordell Flott's probably the guy on the board from a scouting standpoint that you're most intrigued by, that you want to learn the most about. I think you know a lot about all these guys. You know about Glenn Logan. You know about Austin Deculus. You know about, Jamal Pettigrew's going through it today. I mean, Neil Farrell, Chasen Hines. Maybe Chasen Hines is somebody that you're intrigued by, but I think
these are skill position days. You want to see somebody that can run and jump and kind of flash. And Cordell Flott's a great pick too. I think all of the skill guys will have a chance. John Trey might be able to make a team today.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I mean, I saw where who was my guy who caught the Joe Burrow post route against Auburn on the road? Burrow's
Derek Dillon.
Derek Dillon signed with Tampa.
Nice. A little Russell.
Practice
Russell
squad
Gage effect.
A little practice squad, but
guys like that.
I mean, John Trey Kirkland. You catch on with one team, cover punts, cover kicks, effective on special teams, and show the athleticism that he has. Next thing you know, you're Russell Shepard.
Yeah, bring your personality.
Yeah,
because that's teams are going to fall in love. Look, Racey McMath, he made the Titans. There's an avenue where you can pop today on with a 40 time, show some athleticism. Like, all right, we'll take a flyer on him. He might not be drafted, but UDFA, make a team. Russell played for how long? Jesus,
8 years,
8 years doing really a little wide receiver, but he was doing the grunt work. Now he pushes portal potties.
Lifelong
has an empire.
Empire, trucking company,
and portal potties. Yeah.
What about Andre Anthony?
Where's his health? I think that's the question that everybody needs to know today. I think that people are curious about Anthony and people are intrigued by him, but, how's the knee?
No one knows where he is health-wise?
I'm sure people do. I just don't.
I don't know either.
But I think that people will, that's probably a lot of people's questions around him today is just where are you from a health standpoint?
He's great. Great guy.
All right, remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works, as we tell you all the time, they are number one in a number two business. They specialize in all works of plumbing, industrial and commercial. They've got experienced carpenters and plumbers on staff that help you with your industrial remodel of any kind. They got 2 trucks in Baton Rouge every single day. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. 225-776-2431. 225-776-2431. is the number, and you can receive 15% off of your bottom line over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. They are, as we said, number one in a number two business. They can help you out today. They employ 30-year veterans of the industry. They also have some of the up-and-coming new workers in the plumbing industry on staff over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. No social media, no website. All it is a phone number. Dial this in, put it in your contact list. This is your plumber. Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works, 225-776-2431. 225-776-2431. as Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works brings you the Jordy Culotta Show every single day. We're going to take a break.
Oh, Jesus.
That was a
battle.
Oof, that was a sniper. Nick Underhill.
Where'd that go?
God, why?
Who knows? On your face, Lloyd.
Yes, Daddy.
I would vomit.
Nick Underhill.
Vomit on air.
Nick Underhill will be here in 20 minutes. Is there anybody worse that does that at the table?
Oh.
God.
Is there anything worse than bad table manners?
Yes, I was
No.
about to say smacking will get
Smacking
you
is
smacked.
the worst. Or
That's a
people
bad
that
table
dig
manner.
in their teeth
Ugh.
while like people are eating or like at the table. To me is
That's what's your thought
I can get
on-
real bougie and like talk about people that eat ice at the table.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that either. I mean, I think there's a certain decorum that we all know, and you know when you're breaking the rules.
Right.
Some people don't know.
Yeah,
Some people don't know.
And
Some
I
people
won't.
do
And I
not.
won't.
And
I won't
by
say
no means
anything.
am I the authority,
Right.
Because I know that I've
trying to
elbowed
keep
up two
score.
elbows up on
Yeah.
an Italian meal before and not given a damn what people have thought about me.
Hungry.
But
No toothpick at the dinner table.
no.
No.
Yeah, I don't even know why they offer those.
For
Should even do it on the
after,
way out.
or, like you can do it in privacy,
No.
in private,
Oh, you put it in your pocket.
I guess, or go to the bathroom if you have something in your tooth.
They should. I guess you don't want to put those in the bathroom too.
No,
That's a bad
ugh.
look. People that bring their drinks to the bathroom freak me out,
Ugh.
like at the bar. What's in there?
I mean,
dude?
they've done studies on when you flush a toilet, how far out the spray goes.
Eesh.
Like you're
Ugh.
an idiot if you
That's
bring
why you pee in
food
the
or drink
shower.
the bathroom.
Eesh.
Oh, God,
100%.
Thank you.
100%.
No,
Please stop.
he's not explaining his peeing in the shower.
Oh, yeah, this wasn't on air.
This guy pees in the shower without
I don't-
before going to the toilet. Like
I'll pick the shower
he
sometimes
skips
over
the
the
toilet
shower.
and goes to
Wow.
the shower.
It's just
Forgot
a big
that was a
urinal.
conversation.
It's a huge urinal. That's all it is. Like when you look at the ones on the wall, it's the same thing.
So there's a toilet next to the shower, and he pees in the shower instead of the toilet because he doesn't want to take the effort to lift the seat up, but he
I'm just-
does want to take the effort to turn the water on to rinse the pee out.
It's a urinary bidet.
As exposed yesterday,
Oh,
Lloyd is a very
God.
lazy human being. We'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show.
Work hard, work smarter, not harder. What's that again?
Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway, right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway, right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. southerneyecenters.com and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us, it's okay. Just get us out there, share us out there. We're having fun, we want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. southerneyecenters.com and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway. Make sure and stay tuned for Mic'd Up coming up at 11 o'clock this morning. Special guest Patrick Queen going to be coming through the studio today. It'll be cool to catch up with Patrick Queen, couple-of-year linebacker with the Baltimore Ravens. Of course, he had a huge pro day after his standout performance in the national championship game versus Clemson a couple of years back that turned him into a first-round pick for Baltimore. So Patrick Queen, make sure and set your notifications, set the alerts for Mic'd Up. Make sure you're subscribed as well for what's coming up today, 11 and 1 o'clock, and then 3:30 every Friday over at Uncle Earl's, building the community over there. Good happy hour specials as well. We will talk New Orleans Saints with Nick Underhill coming up here in a couple of minutes, as Underhill's actually going to pass through here on his way to Pro Day. As we said, LSU going through Pro Day this afternoon, or starting this morning actually, with Derek Stingley Jr. really being kind of the headliner of it. And then after that, you were kind of wondering who could be and experience the most benefit from working out today. Cardell Flott's name has come up a little bit. Ty Davis Price makes a lot of sense. We were talking a little bit about Cade York, and one thing that I really believe, I think that Cade York is going to get drafted. I think that Cade York, the most impressive thing that he has done, he's done a lot of impressive things while he's been at LSU in the last 3 years, but his distance, the ability on the 50-yard shots and the consistency that he has shown in that part of the game, I think really translates into the NFL. A lot of people were asking Cole Tracy, Cole Tracy's so accurate, such a good kicker. I think what scared people away about Tracy was just his leg strength. His inability to be consistent from 45 to 55 yards. I mean, they kick 60, 62, 63-yard field goals it feels like, they line up for 60-yard field goals now regularly.
And expect to make them.
Yes. And, some people, for as accurate as they may be, you just don't have the leg strength to make that happen. And one thing that Cade York has shown is that dude's got he's
got a howitzer attached to his foot.
That cat has got a cannon on his leg, man. He is just able to be consistent from
he's leaving
range.
Early.
Yeah, you rarely see that.
A kicker go in who was the Florida State kicker? Roberto Aguayo.
Did Janikowski?
Yeah, both were first-round picks, but I think they both left early.
Yeah,
and
Aguayo he got cut, didn't he?
Yeah, to the kid with the golden cleats.
Yeah.
And he had left early, second round pick by the Bucs. Couldn't make an extra point when they were close, and just kind of faded away into the distance. And his brother was this, but he was the all-time. I think he broke a bunch of Sebastian Janikowski's records at Florida State. He was a stud, and then kind of lost his way. That's kicking.
Mental.
Jeez.
The mental part of the kicking game, bro, is
it's like bringing in somebody to putt for you.
Collapse you, man. Just absolutely.
I can't even imagine.
No.
There can't be a lonelier feeling than standing out there being, I don't got the goods, dude. I'm not gonna make this.
Oh my god!
Okay, let's go.
When the guy gives you, are you ready?
Fuck no.
Hell no, I'm not ready, man.
Y'all saw those kicks to the net? Dude, I stink.
Should be to do with this, man.
All right,
so
let's
much
do it.
pressure.
Fake it.
Oh,
Was he the one from Hard Knocks? Whenever the Bucs were on Hard Knocks,
Yes.
I believe
and
so.
they picked on him during the
drills.
extra points, and he just
He
the whole
melted.
team's yelling,
He melted,
and he misses
dude.
the extra point.
God,
He's just
how
like,
do you do it?
he just had a terrible time.
Cut
on
this
it.
guy.
They had to cut him.
Um,
And he went out there with golden cleats.
that's what
Like,
you
for
can't
real?
do, man.
Yeah.
You can't.
For
do
real,
Oh,
he
yeah.
did?
Yeah,
can't
but
do that.
definitely at Florida State, he had like the kicking shoe, like the plant foot. Then his kicking foot was
Well, that's
all
your colors,
gold.
so that makes a
No,
little more
but
sense.
It was gold.
it was gold.
Yeah.
Gold. It was not
Well, their
garnet
colors
and
are
gold.
gold.
It was all gold.
No.
He was making a statement.
Gold medal gold.
Yeah. There's
John
a way to work
Quav.
it in and the way to make it stand out.
Yeah.
John Quav, most impressive pro day you've ever seen. I think we were talking a little bit about this earlier, but Jamarcus Russell. And we actually, I wasn't even in the media. I wasn't covering the event. I knew somebody who was going and asked me if I wanted to tag along with him. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I want to go, man. And we walked into the LSU indoor arena, and Jamarcus is working out with like Craig Davis, Dwayne Bowe, all those guys that were going through that draft process. And Jamarcus put on a throwing clinic. I mean, it was the most impressive thing I've ever seen with somebody with a football. I mean, every single throw that they were asking him to make, and I believe that it was Jimbo Fisher who was working him out. If I'm not, I want to say that it was Jimbo left after Les Miles' first season in 2005. No, he didn't. He left after his second season. I believe Jimbo was working him out at this pro day. And obviously, Jimbo had worked with Jamarcus for so long and had known him so well and just put him in these positions to make these throws where he was throwing like hash mark to hash mark. He's throwing that 25-yard out route in the NFL that's like the most dangerous and toughest throw to make, where you're at this hash and you're throwing the out route to this hash mark, and it's like almost a across the field type throw. And you're trying to throw this 15-yard out that
Into a bucket.
I mean, the person almost looked like an ant when you're standing in dropping back. And Jamarcus was putting these footballs. I mean, you could hear them, the way that they sounded coming out of his hands and zipping to the wide receivers was just. And then at the end of it, they allowed him to throw it deep. And that was the first time. I mean, for as much as he had that arm strength at LSU, I can only remember one time that he like cocked back and launched it was against Ole Miss, and he's rolling to his left. And Early Doucette is running a post route, and Jamarcus just, with everything he's got, it looks like, throws the ball up into the air, and he probably throws it 65 yards going to his left against momentum, and just, his chest is facing this way, and he's throwing it that way.
He's wide open.
Yeah, and it was like, oh my God. I mean, he threw it. It looked like he went 65 yards. He did make a throw against Tennessee where he was falling down. He was like falling on his back, and the ball like never came like 10 feet off the ground. It was like a bullet that went like 30 yards. But in this pro day, I believe it was Jimbo, what was like setting him up to make some of these deep throws. And it was without a doubt the most impressive thing I've ever seen somebody do with a football as far as just pure arm strength. I mean, what he could do. And I know that throwing the ball deep in football really doesn't mean a lot. I mean, it really doesn't. You know what I mean? Like the if you can throw it 60 yards, 65 yards, it's about as much as you really need. But he was uncorking like some of these like 75, 80-yard throws. And then he did the thing where you put him on his knee on the 50-yard line and he hits the goalpost.
Wait, what?
He hits the
What is that
crossbar.
like?
They put him on his knee
To throw the ball?
on the 50-yard line, and he's standing straight up. He's kneeling straight up. He's on one knee. And he's like zipping the ball at the crossbar.
And he hits it?
And he hit, and like out of like 10 footballs, he hit like 6 or 7. And it's
That's
like,
crazy.
and the sound of the ball hitting the crossbar.
Could you imagine doing that?
It was like a baseball hitting a college
aluminum
baseball
bat,
bat.
yeah.
It was kind of like gorilla ball. What it sounded like. I mean, it was just like, I mean, like the goalpost was like wobbling. You know what I mean? Like just like, and people were like the arm strength on this guy, man.
We should all try
Salivating.
that and video it and
I
see.
couldn't throw it 15 yards and
You
hit the
couldn't
no.
get it to the 30-yard
I
line.
tried to do it.
I mean, and this is like an NFL football, man. I mean, this is like
You got a bigger one?
that's just, and it was the most impressive thing I had
Yeah,
ever seen.
that is.
To me, it was what solidified his number one
No
pick
doubt.
status. It was, if you saw that in person, and Al Davis was old, delusional, and senile at that time. If you saw that in person and your responsibility was to like put together a football team, I really don't know how you wouldn't have been like, if that's all you knew about Jamarcus, you didn't know the off the field stuff and like that it was going to be a but if you were just like, I got to have that guy, like that's going to be he can do whatever you want him to do with a football. I mean,
Is that an exercise that they do that like everyone does or certain
The
people
kneeling?
still do it? Yeah.
No,
Not from
So
the
that
50.
was just him?
Not
that
from
was
the
just something
50.
to show off?
He did it, and Brock Berlin did it, I believe. Was it Brock Berlin? The quarterback for, I think it was Brock Berlin, went to
Florida?
Baltimore. No, Miami.
well, he started at Florida and
Yeah.
transferred to Miami.
But he had the same kind of like arm strength. It's like a party trick.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Right,
Jamarcus
really.
did it. They're like,
Okay.
hey, get down on it. He's
Yeah.
like, do y'all want to? Yeah, sure, I'll do it one more time. Like he would do it at practice.
Oh.
And
So
then-
no one will be doing that today.
No,
No, because nobody can throw the
nobody
football
can do
like
it.
that.
Man.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that what that does is just show you, like, this is different.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody can do that. I mean, Bobby Hebert has a freakish arm. Like, he's got a whip for an arm. And he was talking about that to me one day and was like, bruh,
That's not,
I mean, he can't
you ain't
even
supposed to
it.
do that, cuz. I mean,
No.
you're not supposed to be able to do that. You're just not. It's not. It just doesn't make any sense. And he makes it look simple. I
Wow.
mean, like he just flicks his wrist. I mean, he doesn't. He's got no strain to him. He's got no. I mean, he's very easy. He was beautiful as a quarterback.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
I
it
mean,
did.
when he was right and he was locked in, that cat was as good as it got.
What happened to him?
He's got money.
everything.
That's
he,
it,
he
really?
nearly changed the way that you paid rookie top 10 picks
Mm-hmm.
because he held out, and I think he got $60 million all guaranteed before he even went to training camp.
Jeez.
And that's when they kind of, after Sam Bradford, I think was the next guy drafted, and was it 2008? Like that's when they're like, all right, we can't be giving rookies
Yeah.
all of this money. They're spending all of their cap, and they had to restructure. And Jamarcus was a part of that because they're like
Where was he? Where did he go?
Oakland with Lane Kiffin.
Yeah. He went to
and then he didn't last.
He went to the absolute worst
Worst
spot
yeah.
he could have went to.
Why?
Because Lane Kiffin didn't want him. Like
Why wouldn't
they,
he want him?
They went to Rufino's that night. Al Davis, Lane Kiffin, and the Raiders power structure left that pro day and went to Rufino's that night. And Ruffin would tell the story, God rest his soul, R.I.P. Ruff.
Jeez, I forgot. about
Would tell the story that Lane Kiffin was at the table trying to talk Al Davis out of drafting Jamarcus Russell and to draft Calvin Johnson, who was the number 2 pick to the Detroit Lions. And I want to say Adrian Peterson might have been the 3rd pick. And it was an incredible draft
Go.
that. What was his reason for not wanting him?
because he knew that he couldn't play quarterback. He knew that he wasn't going to study film. He knew he wasn't going to put in the extra. I mean, you heard Tyrann. I mean, Tyrann says it's the hardest position to play. I mean,
Yeah.
and there's only about 7 or 8 people that are elite, like can win the Super Bowl, good at it. The
So
rest
he had
of
the
them
strength
are.
and talent, but not like
He
the
just
mindset
didn't
for it or
have.
the
He
drive.
just didn't want to do that. You
God,
know what I
that
mean?
stinks.
In my opinion, I just, I think it came down to, first off, he got way too much money too fast, and I think that there's certain people that, sometimes you get that. I mean, I don't know what I would do if I had $30 million that I had
God. Like,
access to, and I was 22 years old, and I haven't accomplished anything in my profession yet. And you're paying me
Thank you.
like I am the elite. I think at the time, like Kurt Warner was one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and Jamarcus was making like $4 or $5 million more per season than Kurt Warner was, and he was a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I mean, it made no sense on the financial structure of these rookie deals, and Jamarcus was in a terrible organization. He was in, at the time,
How long did he stay there?
3 years. I mean, he didn't even finish out his rookie contract, and he was out of the league. He was blackballed. I mean, not blackballed. I don't mean that somebody said we're not. I think that the league was just like, nobody wants him.
It was a test case for
nobody.
Oh my.
Nobody. I mean, he tried to put together a workout 2 or 3 years after he was out of the game, and like nobody showed up. Like he was like saying he was going to work out at his high school, and it was over. I mean, like in a snap of a finger, he went from the number 1 pick to he couldn't even play in the US. He couldn't even play in the Arena League. I mean, it was like he was so far out of football that it was just over. It was done.
So did he just act a fool? He got money and acted a fool, and
I mean,
it wasn't even that.
He
it was
didn't
just
act a fool. Like he got busted with like
codeine.
He got with purple drink with like lean was his deal. Which is not. I mean, that's not. You're not raging. I mean, you're just kind of like sitting on the couch, just you're just kind of all locked up.
What happens?
I mean, you're definitely not. You're out there causing trouble. You know what I mean? Like,
if you did, you don't know that you did it.
But I think he just
was chilling.
I wonder if he loved it.
No chance.
I wonder. I mean, you know what I mean? Like to me, you wonder if people like that, if you just, hey man, I can live without football. I don't have to have football.
I know, because if you're that good and you get that money and like that opportunity, and then it's just gone.
It's always been so easy, and then it wasn't. It's like I don't
his
want to
life
have to,
changed.
imagine,
His life changed when his uncle died.
Oh.
His uncle Ray was his name, and he hosted a radio show in Mobile, a very successful radio show.
Oh.
Like I mean, it was a great radio show. And Saban, that's who he got. Like everybody thought you had to get Jamarcus's mom to get Jamarcus. And LSU beat Florida State to get Jamarcus. And he was the number 1 quarterback in the country. And
out of Alabama.
But Alabama wasn't Alabama.
No.
Yeah.
Auburn was really the
right.
He took him from Auburn.
Yeah.
And Saban got Uncle Ray to, that was his guy, and it was over. Whoever got Uncle Ray was getting Jamarcus. And Ray died in between getting drafted, leaving LSU and getting drafted. And it was like it was like Mike Tyson losing Cusimata. It was like him losing his guiding light.
Right.
And once he lost him, he kind of he could never get it back, man. He could never find that sophomore year at LSU again, that junior year at LSU again, where he was just he had flashes of, if you get this guy a tutor and a coach and can figure it out and he's on the right timeline, he can be anything he wants to be. I mean, he can play the position at such a high level.
Was him going to the NFL really a possibility until like before that Notre Dame game? Because I remember it, like there were like whispers, but I was like, I don't think he would be the first overall pick. Like I was young. I was
first overall pick, I think, happened in the Notre Dame game.
Right.
What year was that game?
06.
06.
I think that he was on draft radar just because of his skill, his God-given ability, his height, his size.
But it's more of a project.
Absolutely. But he wasn't. Yeah, he should not have been the number 1 pick. Just like Tyrus Thomas should have never been the number. He was the number 4 pick in the draft, but he was traded for the number 2 pick in the draft. So he actually got number 2 pick money. But he wasn't ready to be the number 2 pick in the draft. He wasn't ready to be the guy that you introduced at the press conference as the first round pick that is going to be the starter and going to be. I mean, he needed to develop. He didn't have a jump shot. He could just jump. You know what I mean? And everybody can jump in the league. So when he got to the NBA and he was like, well, my skill set is blinded here because everybody can do it. He didn't have a jump shot. He didn't have another piece of his game that you could fall back on and say, I can do this great. Jamarcus, he never had that game at LSU that you looked at and was like, wow, there it all came together right there. And then he played that Sugar Bowl against Notre Dame, and it was
that's where he shined.
He tore the roof off the Superdome.
Really?
And the debate going into the game was Jamarcus Russell or Brady Quinn, Notre Dame's quarterback. You know what I mean? And they were selling you this this pretty smile and this pretty hair from the Notre Dame quarterback, and then you were coming down to LSU and you were seeing like, oh my God, look at this 6'7" swamp monster that can throw the football 100 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, and then he got into the game and it wasn't even close. Who was the best? I mean, like it was like, what was the debate?
I forgot Brady Quinn even played.
I mean, we're debating Jacob Hester and Brady Quinn. You know what I mean? Like, forget Jamarcus and Brady Quinn. I mean, it was such a. I mean, it was the best game Jamarcus ever played in his life.
Absolutely.
Ever.
And it was a test case for LSU football. It was like they got that down there, and that's why Brian Kelly is here.
Exactly.
He wasn't coaching that Notre Dame team, but that was the talent disparity between Notre Dame and LSU was so for everybody to see on national television. Notre Dame, the brand, is like LSU's been kind of good, like floating around, like winning some bowl games. They do that in the Sugar Bowl. Like, holy shit, what is going on in Baton Rouge?
Yeah.
Next year they win the national championship.
Where's Jamarcus now?
Jamarcus, I believe, is here.
Really?
I believe he's around Baton Rouge.
He's a great interview.
He's a great interview. He's a great dude. Yeah, we'll try to get
hear
him.
These stories.
And I know that like his Ray set him up financially, where
He's good.
He'll always be good.
But
I think
wasn't
the story.
he set up financially already on his own?
Yeah, but I mean, he could have blown through 30. I mean, there's
Jeez,
been many.
He blow through that much?
There's been many of athletes that have. I mean, Mike.
Watch broke on 30 for 30.
We were just talking about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson blew 100.
Well, yeah, Mike Tyson.
You know, I mean,
John Daly blew 120 at the gambling table, and he'll tell you about it.
120 what?
Million.
You're lying.
No. He loves the
he
slides.
gambled away 120 million in one night.
So stupid.
No, not one night.
Just
over-
all in all.
Yeah.
Got you.
And he'll tell you, he's like, I love it.
But yeah, I mean, you could go through 30. I mean, you know, like we say it out loud, but
I
I mean,
know.
like
I
if
mean,
if you've got
Nobody stopping you.
like,
I know,
you've got
that's
nobody
true.
stopping you. I mean,
That's true.
you look up and you'd be like, we've gone through 3 today.
I know.
You know what I mean?
would
Like,
if I had it.
I mean,
If it
oh
came
my
to me
God!
right
You
now,
know, I
I'd be
mean,
like,
we took
let's get a jet. Let's go, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. We took a private jet to Tahiti and we got it stacked
Yes.
up with a pound of relief, man. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, we're $1.5 million in.
We're doing the show live from Tahiti.
Right.
No one will remember
Matter of
it.
fact, make it 2 pounds.
We got 27 more. We ain't paid a tax yet.
Who else do you know that wants to come? Like,
Exactly.
Exactly. How many
then-
more jets do we need?
Right, and that's 8, and you're like, shit, I only have 22 left. Like that was one weekend. Like, all
true.
right, bye everybody.
true.
Y'all
Shaq spent
out.
$1 million in a day.
On
Shaq
what,
spent
though?
$1 million in a day when he got his advance before the NBA draft. In between LSU and being drafted, he spent it on custom suits, cars, and I believe he bought a house in one day. And he tells the story how I spent $1 million in a day.
And it was easy.
And it was like it was
Yeah.
so easy.
That is
And-
easy. if
And
you're
he was
buying
like, really
something
and truly,
like
I didn't have anything to show for it because I gave the cars to like mom and dad. The house was for them too, and the suits weren't ready yet. You know, it's like,
that. Those things still getting hit.
yeah, like I ain't got $1 million. I mean, I don't have anything to show for it.
Got to piss in the shower.
Yeah, I prefer outside. I would walk out. I walk outside before I go to the toilet,
Well, I'm in the penthouse. I got to go down the
I
stairs.
prefer just
Yeah.
the toilet.
So they'll just be peeing out the window,
which would be a
is
bold
which
move
would be
in that
electric.
neighborhood,
Stop it
brother.
right
Welcome to
now.
the hood.
Yes, got to make sure test the wind.
Yes, absolutely.
Stop.
Heads up.
to the neighborhood. It's a water hose.
Speaking of Relief Med, get over there right now at RELEAFmed.com. Relief Med. You can use the promo code Jordy1 to pick up your 20% discount over at Relief Med on your initial purchases. Whether you're celebrating the springtime, it is Masters Week. There is green everywhere. If you want to put green all over your coffee table, get in touch with Relief Med. You can put around a couple of joints to your mouth. RELEAFmed.com.
What's happening?
ReliefMed.com online. You can get in touch with them there. Use the promo code Jordy1. All right, we're waiting on Nick Underhill. Underhill will be here to talk a little Saints and what's going on with their trade. We'll also ask him what he's watching for Pro Day and some of the storylines for today. Give me a minute to come back. We'll reset and be back hopefully with Nick Underhill in the next couple of minutes here to set us up on getting to the bottom of this damn New Orleans Saints trade they made
Story
in
that
Philly
escapes
earlier
us.
this week. We'll be
we don't
back
wanna put
right
the
here on the
effort
Jordy
into it.
Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com.
Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Nick Underhill about to pull up here to the studio. We'll have him on set to discuss what's happening with the Saints. We'll also get the latest on New Orleans football. He and I are going to bounce over to the pro day over at LSU on campus this morning. We'll have our crew out there covering it. We'll make sure and have some images for you on our social media. Make sure you're keeping up with us at Culotta Show.
Possible live video call from Mic'd Up to the Culotta Show, little collab.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll give it a test.
Possible
Don't forget your
meltdown
headphones.
from the facility.
Yeah, you have your go grab the bench press if you freak out. Go get a couple of reps in. Could you get 225?
Oof. Yeah, I mean probably once or twice.
Oof.
Once or twice.
Not anymore. Not me.
Really?
No chance. I did in high school though. Got it up twice. I was all trimmed out though.
Yeah.
To put a needle in my forehead.
Mathieu, how many times can you rep 225?
Right now, I don't know.
He said he could do it twice.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, I can get double digits. I just don't know how many.
Oh, I thought he was going to be like, I don't know at all. And I was like, Mikey, you can definitely get it up.
Yeah.
Right?
No, of course I can get it up.
Get me up
Next
in those jeans,
sponsor.
bro.
Next sponsorship.
Yeah.
Rejuvenate.
Mathieu wearing the jeans today, bro.
Can't get it up in those. Taped to his leg.
225 is
That's a number.
That's you put that above you with nobody spot you. That thing's
You could die.
easily come down in your throat. How many today for Stingley? You think? You think he has a day?
Does he do? Do you think he'll do? I don't think he'll
know
do
if
that.
he lifts.
I think
don't
he
know if
just runs.
lifts. I mean, he could. He could show off on the bench press. I mean, there's all from an
stacked.
upper body standpoint. I mean, he's good to go.
I'll
Well,
go 15 on the bench press. for
yeah, that's a
Stingley.
good over
Like
under.
if he would go, I would say 15 probably.
Who's that?
Stingley on the bench press.
Yeah, I would probably take the over on that.
It don't really matter.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't, but
But I mean, he's kind of got his combine today. I mean, he's kind of going through it. 4.35 over under. Over.
Ooh, I'm going under.
I'm thinking 4.35 fast.
Flying.
we rechecked
4.32 is senior year in high school at the NFL.
4.3.
combine.
Oh,
4.3 flat
at the opening.
flat at the opening.
Laser timed. That's
Liz
flying.
Frank surgery later. We'll
Yeah,
see.
that's true. That's true.
A foot
surgery.
A foot surgery later.
Yeah.
Let's see. So that's why I think you'll see a lot of NFL brass, head coaches, general managers top scouts today. They want to know what that foot injury looks like. All 32 teams for sure.
Rappaport.
Oh yeah, I mean I think
McShay.
all the A-list. All I don't know if McShay. I don't know if
Tomlin's there.
Tomlin's for sure.
Everybody's there.
He's always
I
there,
was
man.
reading on Twitter.
Like Schefter and those
That's what I'm
guys.
wondering. I mean, Rappaport's the one that kind of broke the news that said that he is 100% and ready to go after surgery. So I would imagine he would go to something like this. This is premier. You haven't seen Stingley in since a long time.
UCLA.
Yeah, I mean, when he played in that when Andre Anthony got hurt, he forced that fumble, and I think that might have been his last game. Copper, it's Nick.
Watchdog here. Is our guy here, Nick Underhill? All right, let me turn this set over real quick, and we'll be back with Nick Underhill of New Orleans Football. Getting us set up for NFL or LSU Pro Day. We'll also talk to him about Tyrann Mathieu's visit yesterday with the New Orleans Saints, the draft earlier this week, an explanation and draft strategy for the Saints now with 2 first-round picks. New Orleans Football's Nick Underhill on set with us next here on the Jordy Culotta Show.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us, it's okay. Just get us out there, share us out there. We're having fun, we want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Used cars on the corner of Florida Boulevard and Sherwood Forest. Our friends over at Go Chevrolet. Stop in and see them. Nick is in from New Orleans. If he's on his way back to Laplace, remember their new car lot is in Laplace, Louisiana. Check him out over at Go. He's got a great deal going on at New Orleans Football. You've heard him here. You've heard him all over, man. Anybody that's talking Saints, he's the authority. He's got the best information. We've always urged you to go over. Get your subscription to New Orleans Football. We kind of followed him in this format, right? And we were talking a little bit about kind of what we got going on and over at FM Digital Media and doing our own thing away from the traditional style of media. Nick has kind of been the guiding light for us over at New Orleans Football, who broke away and started to do his own thing and is really doing it at such a high clip. It's great to see him in studio. Great to have you, man. How are you?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. This is a huge day, obviously, for a lot of LSU guys working out for Pro Day. But earlier this week, the Saints had big news, and it was confusing. Not necessarily confusing, but just the amount of the trade. If you could you break down to us kind of what happened between Philadelphia and New Orleans earlier this week?
Well, from the Saints' point of view, I think there's a couple ways to look at this. The first one is they do kind of have an aging core, and you got guys like Demario Davis and Cam Jordan in the 2017 draft class. Now all those guys are in their second contract. So I think for this team where they're at, they're kind of like in a reload. I wouldn't say it's a rebuild, but bringing those assets up from 2014, 2013, and kind of putting it to where they can have a younger core coming around the 2017 draft class, and then those guys around Cam Jordan, Demario Davis. It allows you to start that reload without having to wait to a point where now DeMario Davis is a certain age, and these guys that are coming in can help them, and they can start to rebuild that core at a cost-effective way. The main thing here is that the Saints aren't in this place anymore where they're trying to go all in, spend every single dollar to get Drew Brees at that Super Bowl. And for this team, they'll hold on to their $20 million, $25 million in cap space because it doesn't make sense to put every dollar in. But at the same time, they still think they can make the playoffs, be a 10-win team or something like that, and you get in there and maybe you get lucky. So I think this is just a cost-effective way to kind of start that reload, be all in still to a certain degree, but not all in to a point where it's financially irresponsible.
When you think of now the draft capital they have, especially in the front end in the first round, and this specific roster, where do you immediately look?
So, two schools of thought. I mean, there's 3 holes. You got a need at safety, wide receiver, and offensive tackle. There's 3 picks in the top 50. So you can address all those things. Or secondly, if you look at every draft chart, the 2 picks they have, 16 and 19, you put them together, 1,850 points of trade value on the Jimmy Johnson trade chart, which is what teams kind of look at. Pick 3 is worth 1,800 points. So they can go all the way up to 3. You're looking at maybe Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, an offensive tackle. But I think more likely they're probably just going to draft their starters. The wide receiver market's out of control. Guys are getting paid, $25, $30 million at that position now. So you got to draft them. I mean, you can't really afford to pay these guys. They aren't out there. You don't want to pay Will Fuller $15 million a year. So what are you going to do? You got to find a way to draft one. So I think that's probably what they're thinking right now.
Tyrann Mathieu was at the facility yesterday, spent some time around the New Orleans Saints facility and coaching staff. What did you learn about the day with Mathieu with the inside New Orleans?
So I think this was more of a get to know you. I think both parties going in kind of knew that there wasn't going to be a contract signed yesterday. I think Tyrann's looking for an amount of money that he's not finding quite just yet. He probably will eventually get it, especially if he's patient and willing to wait for training camp. Someone gets hurt somewhere and all of a sudden got to have our guy and he's your guy. So I think he's smart enough to know that what his value is, what it's going to take to get it, and he's going to wait until he has that leverage. But it sounded like it was a good visit. Met with Dennis Allen, Mickey Loomis, the co-defensive coordinators, toured the facility, got some gear for his kids. Like it was a good visit, but I don't think it was the intent on either side was to strike a deal.
What have you made of the moves that they've made at safety, or specifically defensively, specifically safety position, bringing Marcus May and those guys in? What have you made of them trying to fill those holes left behind by Williams?
So I think they look at Marcus May as a strong safety. I think he's the Malcolm Jenkins replacement. I think they're still looking for that free safety type, more of a rangy guy. May can do some of it. Ideally, what they'd like to do is get a Marcus May and then another Marcus May type player, so you have kind of that interchangeability where one guy can be free, one guy can be strong, and you don't know on each snap who's going deep and who's coming down into the box. That's how Dennis Allen likes to play. They tried to do some of that with Marcus Williams, and he was getting better playing forward, coming in the box. His tackling was getting better. But I think ideally that's how they would like that configuration to work. So there's still work to do there. Bringing P.J. Williams in at least takes the edge off it, but I don't think they want him to be a starter. So I think the search continues. I think that's still a huge need for the team.
You and I have talked about this a little bit, but now that things are trending in the direction of the draft, and now you're seeing pro days and people starting to analyze where they're going in the draft, are you starting to learn kind of the structure and the strategy of how the Saints are going to operate post Sean Payton and without him kind of in the mix?
So I think this is kind of more Mickey Loomis's show now. I think you can kind of feel him taking a little bit more control over everything in the draft. It's going to be probably more Jeff Ireland driven. I think Dennis Allen is going to have a big voice, but just comparatively speaking to Sean Payton, I mean, nobody I don't think will ever carry that same kind of weight again. If Dennis Allen has tremendous success, sure. I mean, but that's going to have to be earned, and it was probably earned by Sean over time too. So I think it's kind of more back to being like a truly collaborative, three-pronged approach. Mickey Loomis has final say, whereas I think, they'd tell you Mickey had final say before, but I think we all kind of know right. Sean Payton
until Sean Payton says, I have final say.
Yeah.
Reed Rule asked Nick, hashtag ask Nick, could one of the first-round picks be enough to get DK Metcalf, or is that too expensive?
I mean, theoretically, you could possibly trade for him. I think that they would probably prefer to draft a younger player, cost control, not have to give him the big contract. I think that probably makes a little more sense for them. And like I said, man, the way these guys are getting paid now, I think your best use of resources is to spread out your money at receiver and not have it all concentrated on Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, that type of player. I mean, they're game changers, but I think Mike Thomas at $20 million is kind of probably the cap of where you want that to go. And if there's limited resources, you need 3 good players. And if you're paying, one guy a ton of money, like the rest of your depth chart is going to look a little weak.
Do you expect Ramczyk to shift to the left side?
I don't. The plan for him is to stay on the right now. I think James Harris is going to be left tackle. I think they would like to draft somebody to replace him. But if not, I think they're comfortable with that setup. But I think they like Ramczyk on that right side. How
do they change the strategy of offensive line with the quarterback transition of Breeze to Winston? Is there a thought now of reanalyzing how you look at that spot?
It's a good question. And, I think long-term, the type of quarterback you have determines that too. And look, if we're just being honest, like Jameis Winston's on a 2-year deal worth $28 million, $14 million a year. They aren't committed to him. Like, he's the quarterback this year. If they don't draft somebody that can play ahead of him, I think they're planning on him being the starter. But long-term, he's not on a 5-year deal. You aren't building the team around him at this point. So I think if he were your long-term quarterback and you want to have these plays that are longer developing going down the field, I think you approach it one way. If you're doing the precision offense, timing-based, I think you approach it another way. So I think that's still to be determined. Overall, you want good players, but I think when you start getting a little bit, who's best for this quarterback, you got to know who your starter is going to be long-term.
You covered Malcolm Jenkins for the majority of his 13-year career. He called it a career and retired earlier this week or late last week. What did you make in covering him?
Man, just a tremendous leader. Media-wise, we're going to miss him because he was honest. He was extremely blunt, and it felt like when you talked to him, you were getting the pulse of the team. And I think he served that same purpose in the locker room when guys needed to be checked, someone needed to be, put on point. I think he was the guy doing that. So I think that they're lacking that leadership in the secondary at this point. You lose 2 guys that have been there for a while. Marcus Williams was the guy that called everything, got everybody set up. Yeah. So I think the big concern early in the season is will they be organized? Will they be on the same page? The first year Malcolm came in, there was a little bit of chemistry building there, and it took a lot of time. And think about that Green Bay game early in that year, and it was just guys running free all over the place. So they need to they got a lot of work to do in the back end of that defense. And I think if there's one thing that can turn this team from 10 wins to 8 or 7, I think it's disorganization in the secondary. So I think there's a lot to do there. They're going to start that process. Marcus May is going to be suspended, so I think it's going to be probably a 5-6 week transitionary period until everybody's kind of on point.
They brought Shy Tuttle back a couple of weeks back on the defensive line. That seems like a sneaky good group that we may not be talking about as far as like being able to have a real impact on the league.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think they've done a good job of adding depth just across that defensive line. Just very quietly, Taco Charlton came in. That's a good signing for him. They've added a few guys that I think the depth there is going to be a lot better than it was last year. As you mentioned, Shy Tuttle. I think having Tano Passanio healthy is going to be a big thing for them. And the other thing, people forget that Peyton Turner's on this team, and I know he has a lot to prove. We don't really know enough about him yet, but he was starting to show signs of it last year before getting hurt. If he can take his knowledge, match it with the physical ability, come back year 2, I mean, they might have some really impactful players on that line.
Torque Lewis, #Ask Nick. Nick, do you think the Saints are done moving around picks?
That's the great question, and the timing of this. It makes it so interesting. You usually don't see these deals until they're closer to the draft. So doing it now kind of suggests to me that the Saints at least want the flexibility to explore what else is out there and make those calls. And, hey, what would 16 and 19 how can we move around? So I would man, that's a tough one. Like my natural thought process is they're going to make 3 picks, but I could definitely see him moving up for Kenny Pickett. It's somebody that I know. I know Sean Payton really liked Kenny Pickett. Now, does everybody think the same as Sean Payton? That's kind of the big question here. But these guys being together, Sean likes a guy. It leads me to believe that other people in the building might like a guy as well.
Peyton's probably going to call the war room on draft day.
That's what I'm saying. There's no way it reminds me of Jerry West.
Pickett's still there.
Yeah,
Pickett's still there.
Y'all know Pickett's still out there.
I'm just telling y'all, Pickett's still around.
If I were in the room.
Cordell Music, #Ask Nick. Nick, do you think New Orleans needs to draft Alvin Kamara backup in the case that he could be suspended?
I think absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a big need for him. I don't think Tony Jones is the guy that they were hoping he was going to be. He had a really good preseason, but getting into the season, I think you saw some issues there. Solid depth, but not really the guy you want leading the charge. Mark Ingram could carry some of that load, but I think just getting a younger player in there, get them in the pipeline. If Alvin misses 4 games, it's a huge need. So I think it's something that they definitely need to address.
Jeff Pizzo, Ask Nick, Tuttle and Onyemata going into their last year of contracts. Nick, do you believe that they could spend those first-round picks on offensive tackle and defensive tackle?
That's a good question. OT, I think, is definitely in play. I don't think they're the way this team is set up right now, they haven't addressed their needs, and I think that's a big issue right now. You go into the draft, and you do need an OT. You need a safety. You need a wide receiver. That's why I think signing Tyrann will be a really good move for them, because you open that up then. And now if you're in the second round, 49, and say Sam Howell's there, who they went to his pro day, who they worked out privately, who they've met with another time, and you actually like him, you aren't sitting there weighing the cost between, do I have to get my starting safety, or can I take this quarterback I like who might develop? So just taking one of those off, I think, opens up the possibilities for at least taking best player available at one of those spots.
You don't have the LSU frame of reference. You weren't living in South Louisiana when Mathieu played for LSU. You have covered him in the league. You live in New Orleans now. Could you imagine what that would be like if they signed him?
Look, they treated Quan Alexander like he was Brian Urlacher, all right? Like, if Honey Badger's on this team, like, he will be treated like the greatest football player to ever live. Like, it doesn't even matter how he plays. He would be a god among, like...
Give him number 9.
Yeah. Taysom would have to lose that jersey.
No doubt about it. He would have to.
Yeah.
Nick Underhill joining us here, and we had a great comment, Nick, come in from one of our listeners talking about 2 trailblazers in the media industry that I'm watching right now. Keep up the great work, fellas. I respect the entrepreneurial approach, and I'm happy to see it paying off for the both of you. Thank you for watching. How has it been over at New Orleans Football? You are our resource for Saints information. I know when we promote and talk about your information, when we're talking about Saints, you can see the trust that people have in your site and in your info. So, for people like us who are out on our own, basing on our relationships within the industry to keep us thriving, what has it been on your focused approach to the Saints, where we're more in the sports talk realm?
Yeah, look, the thing is that I'm a little surprised that more people aren't doing this. Honestly, I think
don't you get calls and texts though of how did we get there?
I do, and then nobody ever, they get to the edge and they don't jump. And the thing is that I think you use the people that you need to use to build up your platform. But at a certain point, we're all marketing our own content. At a certain point, ESPN has helped you to a certain point, and beyond that, it's about the people on there. And I think when you build that relationship with your readers, your listeners, they have trust in you. They know the information's good. They know you're going to be working, for their support. And when they give you your support, that's going to be in the forefront of your mind. And you learn them and you give them the content that they enjoy and they want to digest. And, it's been rewarding, honestly. The way this goes, to feel the support from the city, the state, that's a driving thing. And then just also to be able to figure this out and not have to worry about some guy in an office deciding, hey, you know what, we got to cut back here and this guy makes too much money, or, whatever the reason is, to kind of take control of your destiny and to know that you can be there and grow something and build something and do it in the voice of the people that are digesting your content.
New Orleans Football is a great podcast, a great website at New Orleans Football, obviously, and then the YouTube channel that you need to subscribe and keep up with the information on is all available to you, the listener, and their social media channels that you can find all over the place. Nick Underhill is our guy that we get the New Orleans Saints information from. Make sure and get that subscription today. Who are you watching? Stingley is the headliner today that I think everybody is showing up. He's the one that's on the marquee, but 17 guys going through the action today.
Yeah, he's one. I know they got a couple guys earmarked that they're going to be watching up here, and I don't have them on the forefront. I'd have to glance at my phone to kind of get those names. But there's 3 or 4 guys that they're watching here. I know they are looking at cornerbacks. The Saints are the guy
Cardell
from
Flott.
Yeah, the guy from Clemson that's supposed to go mid-first round. They decided him in for a visit. So, it's definitely a possibility for them. Even with Paulson Adebo, their eyes are still open. They're doing their homework there. So, he's definitely one of the, I think there's 3 or 4 guys that they're looking at here.
We will be over there all day. Nick will be over there covering it, obviously, for New Orleans Football. Keep up with the latest to see what the Saints learned today about the 17 prospects that are working out over at LSU. Obviously, keep up with our social media as we'll be putting out video this morning from being there on campus as well. And kind of going through, this will be Brian Kelly's first pro day on campus for LSU and see how that is handled. What's the NFL schedule like right now, Nick? I mean, everything going into draft, and then soon after the draft, like within a couple of days of the draft, you're in rookie minicamp, right?
All right, let me catch up real quick. Stingley, Flott, Clark, those are the guys on defense.
So Damone Clark and Cardell Flott outside of Stingley, obviously.
And then Ingram and Austin, I'm going to say the name wrong.
Deculus.
There you go.
Decalculus.
Ed Ingram and Austin Deculus, so 2 offensive linemen.
Yeah, so those are the guys that kind of got earmarked today to look at them. The schedule for the NFL draft coming up, and then after that, man, I can't believe it's April already. It's into camps right after that. OTAs, all that stuff. So yeah, it's moving incredibly fast. The league just has set it up so it's like there's like nonstop action.
Dead space. Yeah. There's no dead space.
So real quick, you mentioned Stingley on that list for LSU and maybe the Saints' little mutual interest. They've already made a trade. Was there any way that, assuming Stingley doesn't pop on the pro day, which we all think he will, but would the Saints be interested in moving up, or even if he does pop, would they move up and maybe take a stab at Stingley top 10 inside the top 10 if he were to fall?
I'd be surprised if they moved up for corner just because I don't feel like it's a pressing need. But I think they're just kind of positioned in a spot where if like some stuff falls to them, they'll do it. But like again, like I mentioned before, it's just if they were to sign Tyrann, like you're suddenly your options are open, and it's not like okay, we got corners, but who's playing safety? You could always sign them, after the draft. It doesn't seem like that's necessarily something that has to happen quickly. But I'm sure they're gonna have an eye on it. And if you start staking visits, maybe that kind of changes the calculus a little bit.
Did you get an idea where they are on the business side? How if they are far off on money, how much he's asking for and how much they can offer?
It seems like there's a
gap.
It just kind of seemed like it didn't even really go too far there. I mean,
thanks for the gear.
Yeah,
he was in and out of there in like 90 minutes. I don't think it was anything where they were like negotiating. And the feel I got is that the money's
needs to tighten up.
Yeah, it's a little bit too far off at this point. I think he's looking probably for like Marcus Williams range money, and they're obviously not spending that at that position.
New Orleans Football. Check out the site today. Make sure and subscribe if you want the latest on New Orleans Saints news. You hear Nick every week during the season here with us, and anytime we need Saints information, we tap into him, and always on the site over there at New Orleans Football. It's great to see you. Thanks for stopping in and checking out the studio, man. It's great to have you in-house today. Stay safe in Baton Rouge today, and we'll see Nick Underhill over at Pro Day for LSU. Make sure and keep up with us on social media.
Was that you that put the flashbang in your truck to stop people from busting out?
No move. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Like I googled it like immediately after, and I was like, man, like with this, yeah. Turns out the cops will treat you like you're lighting the bomb on somebody, which I think seems understandable.
Hell, any way to get their attention at this point.
Yeah.
How many windows are you through?
2.
Yeah, man.
That guy was 11. He's like, what? I'm doing it myself.
No, I understand.
It's a great video. It's a great video.
Boom, I'm out of here.
Out, dude. Ankles hanging out of the window. Nick Underhill, New Orleans Football, the man. Make sure and pick up your subscription today and check out us all day over at Pro Day. We'll have it for you. Mic'd up 11 o'clock this morning. Patrick Queen in studio. He'll be talking about his pro day from a couple of years back that made him a first-round pick in the last 2 years in Baltimore. What's next for the Ravens and Patrick Queen? He'll talk about that on Mic'd Up today at 11 o'clock. Make sure you're subscribed there. All right, for Jordy Culotta and everybody here at the Jordy Culotta Show, we will see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Compliments of Go Chevrolet.